Live from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri, WWOR-TV presents New York Mets baseball. As tonight, the Mets take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Pitching for the Mets tonight, left-hander Sid Fernandez, 10-6 with an ERA of 3.51. And on the mound for the Cardinals, left-hander Rick Horton, who's 5-1 with an ERA of 3.53.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Tim McCarver and Steve Zabriskie, all set for the second game of this three-game set with the first-place St. Louis Cardinals. The Mets winning last night by a score of 6-4, and this is a must series, Tim, and the Mets really should come out of this with 3 wins if they expect to really get back in the race. They could get away with just 2.
Well, if they win 2 out of 3, they will have gained 1 game on the Cardinals. The Cardinals playing very good ball, and I know what you mean because the Cardinals have lost 5 in a row, their longest losing streak of the season, and it seems like every time when everybody's about ready to count the Mets out, that tough loss on Sunday, they come back and win the next ball game.
And they got a good effort from Ron Darling yesterday, and they're hoping for a good effort from Sid Fernandez. The Mets also have made a change for tomorrow's ball game. They have moved Dwight Gooden up to pitch against the Cardinals, and that was very interesting because Gooden will be working in his 4th day.
Well, actually, Davey Johnson says it's 3.5 days because he worked on a day game, and that's how technical managers are nowadays. It's the second time in Dwight Gooden's career that he will have worked with only 3 days rest or 3.5 days. But I think Davey's really doing the right thing because by moving Dwight Gooden up right now, you may get an extra start or 2 at the end of the season out of him.
All those things can, and we'll be back with the starting lineups and the start of the ball game in just a moment, right after this message from Bud Light. Well, here in St. Louis, the Mets all set for this second ball game. Since the All-Star break, the Mets have played better than the Cardinals. The Mets have won 7 and lost 5. The Cardinals have won 5 and lost 7. And here tonight, it's going to be Rick Horton going for the Cardinals. He has a record of 5 wins and 1 loss, an earned average at 3.53. He has worked 81 2/3 innings, given up 78 hits. 8 of them have been home runs, walking 26, striking out 37. Lifetime, he's 2-1 against the Mets.
And the lineup for the Mets, Mookie Wilson leading it off and playing center. Second baseman Tim Teufel, who's been red hot, batting second. Keith Hernandez, the ex-Cardinal, of course, batting third. Right fielder Darryl Strawberry hitting 4th. Left fielder Kevin McReynolds batting 5th. Gary Carter in the 6th hole and catching. Third baseman Howard Johnson hitting 7th, and Rafael Santana batting short, and of course Sid Fernandez hitting 9th.
And the defense for the Cardinals, Clark Herr, Oquendo, and Pendleton 1st to 3rd. Coleman, McGee, and Lindemann in the outfield, left to right. The catcher will be Phenia. And the umpires for this game, Paul Runge behind home plate. Joe West, the umpire at first base. Gary Darling, the umpire at second base. Randy Marsh, the umpire at third.
I'll tell you, they talk about baseball not being a contact sport, but check the action in last night's game. First inning, Strawberry hitting with Hernandez at first base. A runner at third going slamming into Tommy Herr. Strawberry safe, 1-0 New York. In the 4th inning, with nobody out and Ozzie Smith at third, Herr hits the ball sharply to Hernandez, who surprisingly comes home to get Ozzie Smith, and Smith out with a sprained ankle. Now watch this play. Tommy Herr, a little payback going into Tim Teufel in the 8th inning, and that causes an overthrow of first by Teufel. So 3 key physical plays in last night's ball game. These guys going after each other.
Well, the heat is intense and the play is intense.
That's right, and the weather is intense.
95 degrees here, humidity way up there, and we're all set to go. Mookie Wilson to lead it off for the Mets. Mookie hitting .291, 6 home runs, 23 runs batted in, and the first pitch is grounded foul. Mookie hitting .333 this year against the Cardinals with 10 base hits. He has not driven in a run. In yesterday's ball game, Mookie 1 for 5. Mets as a team hitting .270, 3rd in the National League. And a strike call off the fastball, strike 2. Horton has won 21 and lost 10 in his major league career. As a starter, he is 13-8. This is his 35th start for the Cardinals, and he misses with a fastball. It's 1-2. Cardinals leading Montreal by 6, the Mets by 7 1/2, Chicago by 9 1/2, Philadelphia by 11. And he goes to the off-speed pitch, and they count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mets are third in the league in runs scored. The Cardinals are first, and the fastball fouled back. The count stays at 2-2. The Mets have averaged 4.88 runs per game. The Cardinals have averaged 5.51 as you look at Tuffle and Hernandez as they prepare to hit in this first inning. 2-2 the count. And the ball again fouled back out of play. The Mets have done a good job against the Eastern Division. They have the best record against Eastern Division teams, 26-18. Cardinals are second to them, and a big crowd again on hand, a sellout. Bouncing ball to third. Pendleton with a great glove, no doubt about it. So Mookie the first out of the game as we get underway.
Second baseman
Mookie on the treadmill trying to get out of the box. He did not get out of the box very well, and for that reason it wasn't even close at first base.
And now for the Mets, it'll be Tuffle hitting. Tim hitting at 346 with 8 home runs, 34 runs batted in. 1 for 4 last night, and the one base hit was the game-winning base hit for the game-winning RBIs. And time is called, no pitch. Tuffle in his last 13 games hitting .404. He has scored 12 runs, had 6 two-base hits, 4 home runs, and he has driven in 12. And that pitch a ball. Cardinals planning to start left-handers against the Mets in this series. They started McGrain in last night's ball game. And now here it's Ricky Horton. Tomorrow it will be Gary Matthews. And the fastball called a strike. 2-1.
As a matter of fact, Whitey Herzog has said that if it were up to him, he would have 10 left-handers in his pitching staff. There's Whitey. He loves left-handed pitchers.
Ground ball in the hole, backhanded by Oquendo. He has a great arm, and he picks up the out. Oquendo playing in place of Ozzie Smith, who sprained his ankle. And you don't lose a whole lot with Oquendo playing short, even when Ozzie Smith is out.
Oquendo, a far superior arm to Ozzie Smith, probably the best arm for a shortstop in the National League. You don't lose a lot at all. You're exactly right.
Former New York Met, and now the batter will be Keith Hernandez. Keith hitting .294 with 10 home runs, 44 runs batted in. 1 for 3 last night. Keith batting an even .300 against the Cardinals this year. 1 home run, 9 runs batted in, and the fastball a strike. Keith has a 6-game hitting streak going. He's hitting .444 through the 6 games. Goes after a pitch way out of the strike zone. It's strike 2.
Horton, a slinger, this ball out of the strike zone. There's a hesitation with Horton's right foot, and that's one of his deceptions when he delivers.
And he tries the pitch again, and this time Keith holds up.
When that right foot comes toward first base, there's that slight hesitation, and it's hard for a hitter to wait back when a pitcher like that hesitates. There.
And he gets in the kitchen there, and it's fouled on the right side. The count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Horton has won 8 of his last 9 decisions.
Watch the hesitation. There, just a little hesitation, and that causes the hitter, or could cause a hitter, to jump just a little bit and commit himself.
And now again the little slider outside, and again Keith holds up. So the count at 2-2. Horton's last loss dates back to April 30th, 1986 as a starter. He has had 7 saves this year, 3 of them against the Mets. So he has done well against the Mets in relief, and now starting his first game against the Mets this year. And it's hit off the hands to the second baseman, Tommy Herr. So the Mets go in order on 3 ground balls, and the score at the end of 1/2 inning, the Mets nothing, the Cardinals coming up. Now here's a word from the good old guys. Sid has worked 120 innings, given up 97 hits. 10 of them have been home runs. He has walked 50 while striking out 103. Lifetime record against the Cardinals, 4-3, Sid Fernandez.
Okay, and here's the lineup for the Cardinals. Vince Coleman, the left fielder, hitting first, and second baseman Tommy Herr has moved into the 2 spot, while Terry Pendleton, the third baseman, will hit third. Jack Clark, the first baseman, hitting fourth, and Willie McGee, the switch-hitting center fielder, hitting fifth. Jim Lindemann in right batting sixth. Tony Phenia, the catcher, hitting seventh. Jose Oquendo batting eighth and playing short, and pitcher Ricky Horton batting ninth.
So Sid Fernandez to work to Vince Coleman as his first man. The defense for the Mets, Hernandez, Tuffle, Santana, and Johnson first to third. In the outfield, McReynolds in left, Wilson in center field, Strawberry in right, and the catcher Carter. Coleman has been on base with either a walk or a base hit in 85 of his 90 games this year. Leads the league in stolen bases, and the first pitch is fouled back out of play. Coleman hitting .285 with no home runs, 26 runs batted in. And he has 61 stolen bases in 74 attempts. Has a pace that would take him into about 104 stolen bases for the year. His record is 110. 8 short of the record set by Lou Brock in the National League, 118 stolen bases in one season. 1 strike the count as Fernandez goes to the breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
So, in other words, the pace. So that means he has to do exactly the same thing for the rest of the year that he's done as far as stealing bases. And that's the fallacy of those paces.
Unless he slows down and then picks up.
Yeah.
But then he could pick up and then slow down. And a fastball in there, a called strike 1 and 2.
There are too many elements involved for him to keep up the pace. He might very well keep up the pace. But the stats, as far as that at this pace, is really, you know, it's a negligible, in my opinion.
Makes for conversation, though.
Yeah.
You don't like it, though. Huh?
No.
Fastball fouled away. Speaking of paces, McGuire has hit his 37th home run. He's on a pace that would tie him with Roger Maris. 61 home runs in the season. That ties the National League record, the 37 home runs, I should say, American League record, set originally by Al Rosen.
Well, he was on a pace a week ago to hits to time with Maris, but see, he's hit 3 since a week ago, so that means he might be on a pace to go ahead of Maris.
But then that takes into consideration the pace of Roger Maris.
Speaking of paces, how about that?
So Coleman is hit by a pitch ball.
On 1 hop, and that counts. Obviously, Vinny trying to get out of the way of that ball, but it was a curve ball, and boy, a bad predicament for the Mets. This ball just kind of hops up, hits him on the ankle, didn't hurt him. Vince Coleman with more stolen bases than 9 major league teams last year.
So Sid Fernandez hitting his first batter. And the one man you don't want on, Vince Coleman, is on. Coleman has never been thrown out by the Mets. He has been successful in stolen bases 23 out of 23 times.
Bad combination, too. A power pitcher out there with Sid Fernandez, a high kick, and a bad move to first. So you can look for Coleman to run again.
Coleman already with a good-sized lead. The Cardinals have had 143 stolen bases, and Sid goes over to first to drive him back. Cardinals have been successful 75% of the time in their stolen bases. Coleman was on base 1 time in yesterday's ball game and scored a run. He beat out a bunt for a base hit. Does not go on a pitch out, and it's ball 1. Tommy Herr, the batter. Tommy hitting .259. 1 home run, 45 runs batted in.
Davey Johnson looking at Mel Stottlemyre, and I know what he's talking about. He is saying that Sid's got to give the same motion when he pitches out as when he throws for a strike.
And again over the first.
You can't slow down your motion because a runner, especially an experienced fast runner like Coleman, can pick that up and knows that you're doing something so different, he's not going to run. Your pitch out's got to look like a normal pitch.
And he does not go, and they pitch back a ball, and that puts the count at 2-0. Herr hitting .291 as a right-hand batter. .239 as a left-hand batter. The Cardinals against left-hand pitching have a poorer record than they do against right-hand pitching, in spite of the fact they have a lot of switch hitters. There goes Coleman, a big jump, and there's no chance. So Coleman with his 24th stolen base against the Mets in 24 attempts.
No chance, Gary Carter. This throw right on the money. He's coming up. No chance.
He was a third of the way there by the time the ball was out of Sid's hand. So Coleman a threat to steal third.
He likes to do it right after he steals second, too.
Santana holding fairly close against him. Fernandez checks, and he does not go, and the pitch is ball 3. 3-1. So Sid Fernandez struggling here as we get underway.
The thing, as a catcher, Ralph, you just got to keep reminding Fernandez, get the hitter, and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. You saw with even a perfect pitch, a good pitch to handle, you're not going to get Coleman. Get the hitter. Now it's 3-1 to Herr.
And a 3-1 pitch, ball 4, and the first 2 batters are on without a base hit. Runners at first and second on the walk.
This fastball just missed, but was clearly inside. And remember the pitch out. The pitch out was one of the 4 balls that were thrown to Tommy Herr. And Johnson, Hernandez converging. There's no way. I don't think Pendleton's going to be bunting here. You got Coleman, who stole second and third 6 times this season, 31 times in his career. And Pendleton hitting too well to be bunting here, I would think.
No way that he'll be bunting here, at least in our opinion. And of course, the Mets are looking for Pendleton to be hitting the way they have the infield deep. Pendleton 1 for 4 last night. Batting at .309 for the year with 8 home runs, 59 runs batted in. And Coleman bluffing at stealing third and then stopping, and the pitch is ball 1.
I'll tell you, it's very interesting right now. Tommy Herr looking at Coleman, and when he had the fake break, Herr did the same thing. The runner at first base right here, the trailing runner, it's a very difficult job for him to run at the same time the guy at second runs.
1 ball, no strikes. Tuffle over to cover second, but no throw.
Fernandez at this point totally rattled. Totally.
No concentration at all.
Totally out of sync, and that's what that man has done, 29.
One ball, no strikes. And the pitch is swung on and fouled back. Pendleton swinging at a fastball. Pendleton this year setting a career high for walks. He already has 43. And as a right-hand batter, he's hitting .341. As a left-hand batter, .291. One and one the count. And Sid still bothered by Coleman at second. Pendleton had a 19-game hitting streak earlier this year. The longest in the National League. And the pitch back. It is taken for a ball. 2 balls, 1 strike. On deck, the National League's leading home run hitter, Jack Clark.
And he's had 2 home runs rained out.
He also leads the league in runs batted in. So Sid Fernandez digging a fairly deep hole here. 2-1 the count to Pendleton. The runners go and the ball fouled away. So both runners moving with the pitch, but the ball fouled off and they'll go back.
I'll tell you, we had a good shot at Howard Johnson giving the decoy. A lot of times you think of the second baseman shortstop giving the decoy, but watch Howard Johnson. Ball fouled away. He goes over like he's got to play at third base. Coleman can't pick the ball up. Had that ball been a pop fly fair ball, the right side, even though the infield fly rule would have been in effect, if it's not hit high enough, they got a chance to double Coleman up at second base.
That's right. The batter's automatically out on the infield fly, but the runners go at their own risk. 2-2 the count.
But look at Herr looking at Coleman. A lot of times they watch the pitcher. In this case, he's looking at Coleman.
And the pitch back, a breaking ball, and he got him.
Big pitch.
So a fine off-speed pitch by Sid Fernandez to pick up the first down.
Oh, good pitch right there. Just having the corner after all those fastballs.
So that'll bring up Jack Clark, who is the most dangerous hitter in the National League. Leads the league in home runs with 29. Runs batted in with 94. Leads an on-base percentage with 462. Last night, Clark was 1 for 3. And Sid worrying about the runner at second as Tuffle comes over to cover.
Easier for Tuffle now because they have the shift on for Clark anyway. So he's there at second, just like a first baseman would be, holding a runner on at first base.
And the fastball for ball 1. Clark has had 2 home runs against the Mets this year and 4 runs batted in as you look at the defensive alignment of the Mets. And the runner goes, and the throw to third, not in time. So Coleman steals third, and behind him, Herr goes down to second, a double steal. This might take the bat out of the hand of Jack Clark.
Well, it might, but Willie McGee, batting fifth, has 75 RBIs, and that's why it's important for the batter behind Clark to be doing well. This is the 7th time this season and the 32nd time in his career that Coleman has stolen second and third in the same inning.
Now Santana coming in asking for time, and we'll see how the Mets play it. They could walk Clark here and take their chances with Willie McGee. McGee, of course, is not a home run hitter. They're going to walk him.
Well, the one problem with that is Fernandez doesn't have good enough control to stay ahead in the count. He's already hit Coleman. He walked Herr on the 3-1 count. This is one of those 50-50 shots, and you don't really know whether it's the right thing to do or not.
Well, with the kind of year that Jack Clark is having, he is such a dangerous hitter. I'd take my chances with Willie McGee.
Okay.
Of course, this does set up a chance for a double play. McGee, a very tough man to double.
Early in the ball game, however, and by walking Clark, another base runner, and you set up a chance for a big inning. I'm not really saying it's right or wrong. It's just certainly something that's open to controversy.
McGee
certainly can't quibble with that reasoning, though, Ralph. McGee, by the way, has grounded into 10 double plays this year, and that's really surprising.
That is a lot.
And an indication of his knee problems.
McGee hitting .301, and he fouls off a fastball. McGee with 8 home runs and 75 runs batted in. 0 for 4 last night, and as a right-hand batter, he's hitting .353. As a left-hand batter, .277.
That, by the way, the 11th game in a row that Jack Clark has walked. National League record is 15, held by Darryl Evans back in 1975.
Clark with 102 walks so far this year. The record in Major League Baseball for walks, 170 by Babe Ruth. The 1-strike pitch. McGee swings through it. Strike 2. Cardinals with the bases loaded. 1 man out. We're in the bottom half of the first of an all-important game for the Mets. 2 strikes to count. Fastball hit on the ground at short. They'll try for 2. There's 1 and the other, and the strategy works, and the Mets get out of it with no runs scored. There were no hits, a batter hit by a pitch ball and 2 walks, and 2 men left on base. And the score at the end of 1, it's the Mets nothing, the Cardinals nothing. Now here's a word from American Express.
The 11th time this year, and we're checking on Jack Clark. Clark going into Tuffle. Not checking on that, but we're checking on his intentional walks. He's walked only 9 times intentionally.
You're watching Mets Baseball 87 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. And the first pitch to Darryl Strawberry, a ball. Strawberry hitting .271, 22 home runs, 56 RBIs, and this one is deep to right field. Going, and it is gone. Goodbye. Darryl Strawberry with his 10th home run off a left-handed pitcher, and he has picked up his 23rd home run of the year, and the Mets lead it by a score of 1-0.
Didn't look like he got all of it either. It looked like he hit it just above the trademark, and it shows you how awesome the strength is of Darryl Strawberry. Only his 3rd home run since June 18th, so it's been 6 weeks. And Darryl, a streak hitter, really, as far as the long ball is concerned. You don't often connect the two, but that's true with Strawberry.
9th home run given up by Horton, and the first pitch to Kevin McReynolds in there for a called strike. McReynolds hitting .287, 19 home runs, 61 RBIs.
This is the 9th home run given up all year, and I don't think he got all of it. I really don't. He didn't hit it crisp on the crisp part of the bat.
2 balls, 1 strike, the count to Kevin McReynolds. Kevin hitting .361 against the Cardinals this year, and he hits a ground ball to the second baseman, Tommy Herr. 1 away. So Rick Horton giving up the home run. The Mets leading 1-0. In games where they have scored the first run, the Mets have a record of 34-16. Last night they scored the first run and won it by a score of 6-4. Now the batter is Gary Carter. Carter hitting .241, 13 home runs, 50 runs batted in. Carter 3 for 5 in last night's ball game. And a ground ball to third. Pendleton to Clark, 2 away.
Number 20.
Oh, no.
Third baseman.
It's 100 degrees out here, and Sid keeping his arm warm.
And on that field,
really?
It might be 120. So Fernandez staked to a 1-0 lead on the home run by Strawberry, and with 2 men out here in the top of the second, the batter will be Howard Johnson. Johnson hitting .267, 23 home runs, 58 runs batted in. Home runs and RBIs are career stats for Howard Johnson.
And speaking of RBIs, that RBI by Darryl Strawberry, his 400th of his career, and Steve Zabriskie points out that puts him ahead of Rusty Staub. He is now in 2nd place for all-time RBIs by a Met hitter. There's Darryl.
And Howard Johnson in the 2020 club for the Mets, joining Strawberry and Tommy Agee as the only 3 Mets to have 20 stolen bases and 20 home runs in the season. And a strike call off the fastball, 2-1.
Strawberry's done it the last 3 years, and he'll do it again this year. He has 17 stolen bases and 23 home runs right now. Agee did it back in 1970.
Johnson in his last 15 ball games with 7 home runs, and he hits this ball foul. Johnson, one of 4 players in the major leagues with 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases this year. Two and 2 the count, 2 men away. And a fly ball in the shallow center field. McGee won't be able to get to it. It'll drop in for a base hit. So Johnson singles and makes a big turn at first and holds there.
Howard did take a big turn, and once Willie McGee in the act of throwing dropped the ball, he had stopped, but certainly can understand that. Ball off the end of the bat, and Johnson with the wide turn, but Willie McGee sees that, and once you're in the act of throwing, as he was almost in the act of throwing, Johnson had stopped, and no chance for him to go to second.
That brings up Rafael Santana. Rafael hitting .276 with 4 home runs, 29 runs batted in. And that pitch a ball, and the count 1 ball, no strikes.
Ricky Horton voted by the National League managers last year as the pitcher with the best move to first base.
He has made 2 balks this year, and he goes over there once again. He can really get you. Hard ground ball, but foul. So the count at 1-1 on Rafael Santana. Santana breaking his bat.
Breaking his back or his bat? That guy breaking his back to get to a ball. All right.
I guess that is legal if you keep 1 foot in the stands. Mets leading 1-0 on Strawberry's leadoff home run here in the second. And with 2 men out, a runner at first base with Santana at the plate. That home run for the Mets, their 120th of the season. Johnson back again. Johnson leads the club in stolen bases with 20. And he's running. The pitch is hit on the ground to the second base side. And Herr, who was not covering, comes up with it and picks up the out at first. In the inning, the Mets get 1 run on the home run by Strawberry. They had 2 hits, and they leave 1. Well, we're going now to the bottom half of the second. If there ever was an argument for support of a home run versus the stolen base, it's right here in this ball game. 1 swing of the bat by Strawberry for 1 run. And the Cardinals in their first at bat had a batter hit by a pitch ball, 2 walks, 3 stolen bases, and did not score.
Jim Lindemann leading it off here in the bottom of the second inning. That is one example. If you want to take it over 99 games, however, the Cardinals 7.5 ahead of the Mets.
But not because of the stolen base, because of the runs scored and the batting averages that they had.
Well, certainly the stolen bases, however, indicative of the Cardinals' run-scoring potential now.
It has
you can't
a part.
negate it.
No, I'm not saying it has no effect, but it has a part.
A big part. It's 1-1 to Lindemann. And part of their batting average due to their speed also. A lot of infield hits that they get.
That part is true.
Yeah. On defense, they can track down a lot of balls in the outfield. Not a lot of home runs hit in this ballpark. Lindemann pops it up foul territory right side, and there's Hernandez. So there's 1 away here in the second. Well, some police officers here from New York, the 41st Precinct, and obviously they are members of the Bill Webb fan club, ever-expanding Bill Webb fan club, the 41st Precinct. Hi, guys. All right. Guys go out day in and day out and risk their lives for the populace in New York City.
Enjoying the vacation here in St. Louis and watching the ball game.
Tony Phenia, the batter. He's batting .241. His home run against Cincinnati this year, he has 26 RBIs. Obviously, with that broken thumb, that really hurt his opportunity early with the Cardinals. He had it broken by Brian Fisher of the Pirates back on April 10th. And the fastball is high, 1-0 to Tony. 1-0 New York.
Anything but a triumphant return to Pittsburgh. His first series in Pittsburgh in a Cardinal uniform.
2-0. I guess you could, you could go over that speed power. I mean, you could flip-flop that baby all back and forth all night. Base hit up the middle. Wilson over to field it, and Phenia held to a single. That's the first hit of the ball game for the Cardinals.
Well, Phenia coming up with his second hit of the series. He was 1 for 4 last night. Gets a fastball out over the plate. Hits it up the middle.
Jose Oquendo, the batter. There have been 17 teams, as an example, who have hit over 200 home runs in a season. And the Baltimore Orioles, an interesting article a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to bring it tomorrow, Ralph, that I've been meaning to show you. Picked it up about 2 weeks ago. The Baltimore Orioles could have over 200 home runs this year and finish next to last, or even in last place. Nah, not in last place the way Cleveland's been going. There's a strike 0-1. But of those 17 teams with over 200 home runs, only 5 have won the pennant. Only 1 has won the World Championship. And only 1 more, other than the 5, has finished in as high as second place.
Well, you can take the St. Louis Cardinals.
Throw to second, and he's safe as Phenia has his 4th stolen base. Pardon me, go ahead, Ralph.
The Cardinals last year led the league with over 200 stolen bases. It didn't come close to winning. So the arguments can go back and forth. I think the answer is you got to do a little of everything. You got to have balance. And the replay clearly shows Phenia was safe for the stolen base. Phenia doing a fine job getting his 4th stolen base in 5 attempts. And
I'll tell you, that was close.
Tuffle in front of the bag taking that throw, which makes it almost impossible to get the runner. You can't bring that arm back to the bag with any speed at all. The ball traveling much faster. If you let the ball come to the bag and you're right there, you got a much better chance.
Fly ball, center field. Wilson over, now in, and he makes the play. So there are 2 outs, Phenia remaining at second base, and Ricky Horton, the pitcher, the batter, with the Mets leading 1-0 on Darryl Strawberry's 23rd home run of the year. Horton 158, 3 for 19 on the year. Line to center, base hit. Phenia's going to try to score and will. 1-1. No! He's out. What a play by Carter. Blocking the plate without the ball, but they never call it. 1-0 still Mets.
Well, Carter's amazing. He is the most durable player. Hit on the head by a backlash on a swing yesterday. Also hit by a foul tip. In there again today. Blocking the plate right there. He hasn't got the ball. He makes Phenia go around him. He never gets to the plate, and the out is made, and it ends the inning. Great job by Carter as the throw was up the line.
Wow, that was terrific. 1-0 New York after 2. We're back after this word from Busch to prevent Phenia from scoring.
Here's Mookie Wilson taking the single by Horton, firing it in up the line. It's about 6 feet up the line, and Carter blocking the plate, keeping Phenia from scoring, from getting to the plate, and the tag is made. And Phenia is thrown out on the play, saving a run, and now Sid Fernandez.
Sid on the season, 167. He's 6 for 36. Tapper toward first, fielded easily by Horton. And he flips to Clark. 1 pitch, 1 away, and the batter Mookie Wilson.
Fernandez really surviving in the first 2 innings. And the Mets leading 1-0 on the home run by Strawberry.
Center fielder Mookie Wilson.
Mookie grounded to third his first at bat. And he fouls it away. Drilled to right center, Lindemann over, holding off Willie McGee with that right hand, and he makes a nice play. Mookie gave it a ride, but it was a ride that ended.
Well, it's called close to warning track power, and Lindemann making the catch. McGee also could have made the play. McGee much faster than the right fielder.
A lot of warning track power in this ballpark.
Now, this is a tough park. There's no doubt about it.
And Tim Teffel's been a tough hitter all year long, batting .346 with 8 home runs. Twice as many home runs as he had last year. Line base hit right center. Teffel will probably try for 2, and there he goes. A hesitation almost cost him. You got to try that, period. Don't even worry about it.
2 men out, you have to go for the double in this case. And Teffel made the turn at first and sort of slowed down. And then he decided, well, I'll go. Probably heard the first base coach, Bill Robinson. And McGee makes a turn and throw, and he hesitates and doesn't get it there in time as Teffel beats the tag by Tommy Herr.
So Horton hesitated before the pitch. Teffel hesitated on the turn, and Willie McGee hesitated on the throw. Here's Keith Hernandez. He grounded to second his first at bat. 1-0 New York, top of the third. Like one of those H.G. Wells plays right there. Time capsules. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
Incidentally, that was Teffel's 18th two-base hit this year.
He's really had a lot of extra base production. No triples, but 25 extra base hits. Line drive, fair ball, right field line. Teffel's going to score, and Hernandez has a double, and that is a rare extra base hit recently for Keith.
Well, Keith Hernandez has been hitting well. The average has been coming up.
Right fielder Darryl Strawberry.
But he has not been able to get extra base hits. That's his 3rd extra base hit since July 3rd. Right here he stays on the breaking ball. He had looked bad on the breaking ball his first time up. This time he stays on it, gets a much better pitch to hit as the ball was hung inside, drills it down the right field line. Teffel scores, so back-to-back doubles, and the Mets have a lead of 2-0.
Strawberry takes a breaking ball for a strike, 0-1 to Darryl. He homered his first at bat, home run number 23. Another breaking ball low, 1-1. Mets won their first ball game of the year last night here at Busch. They were 8-1 last year, 1-3 this year. They have 8 games remaining with the Cardinals, including this game. Bounces away from Phenia. Boy, Tony Phenia, every element of his game is down this year, huh, Ralph?
One of the things that we've noticed about Phenia is this year he's not been shifting in front of balls in the dirt. He's been playing them off to the side. This one right in front of him, and he can't block it to keep it in front of him. That'll be scored a wild pitch.
But really should be a pass ball, I think.
That short hop.
Yeah, that's one of those real short hops where you can smother it easily. But Tony out for 6 weeks and not making any excuses for him, but you do lose your rhythm defensively, not only offensively, but defensively too. Another breaking ball. It's 3-1 to Strawberry. Hernandez at third with 2 outs. 2-0 New York.
Darryl hitting a fastball out of the ballpark for his home run. Now getting a diet of breaking balls.
4 in a row, as a matter of fact. Almost hit him. Darryl walks. That's the first walk issued by Ricky Horton. And the Mets really hitting Ricky Horton better than I've ever seen them in 26 career appearances.
He has been very tough against the Mets, and he's been a good pitcher against the league. 21-10 mainly as a relief pitcher.
And he's so valuable. He can start. He can be short relief. He has 7 saves this year. That's more than the last 3 years combined. Bill Dawley now up and throwing. Mike Rourke out to talk to Horton. Ricky, a delightful young man. He's from Poughkeepsie, graduate of the University of Virginia. Petroleum engineering was his field. Speaks Spanish fluently. Not to Mike Rourke, however, but now he will. And I'm really not kidding about that. He can speak to Phenia better in Spanish than he can in. But okay is the same in Spanish and English.
I think Tony could understand that. One of the things as you look at Whitey Herzog is that he negotiates his own contract, and not many ball players have the ability to do that well.
But they do, however, if they do save 10% or less.
Or, yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
McReynolds grounded to second his first at bat. Of the 8 outs recorded by Horton, 7 have been on the ground. Fastball outside, 1-0 to Kevin. He grounded to second his first at bat. 2-0 New York, 2 on, 2 outs. We're in the 3rd inning. Ground ball sharply, and that's why that runner at third leads off in foul territory.
You get hit by that ball that's hit in fair territory, you are automatically out. The batter gets credit for a base hit, but if it hits you in foul territory, nothing happens. It's a foul ball.
It doesn't even count. Even if it hits you, it won't hurt because you're in foul territory.
That's right. You're safe.
We had a good cut at that one. That's fouled off right below us. Hot, muggy St. Louis. Seasonal weather here in the lovely city. Gateway to the west. 95 to 100 today. Sid's still adorning that jacket. Got to protect that arm.
There's a good way to help out.
Real fan right
there.
there.
Another fan, that's right.
Ground ball towards short. Okendo over to Herr for the final out. Mets tack on another one. 2 hits on the 1 run. They strand 2. The 3rd inning, and Vince Coleman will lead it off for the Cardinals. He was hit by a pitch and stole 2nd and 3rd, the 7th time he's done that this year. Cardinals have 4 stolen bases in 2 innings and haven't scored. Not to beat the subject into the ground, but I guess we could talk about it all night long. There's so many elements involved in power versus speed, offensively and defensively. Hit to center field, and Mookie Wilson in there. And you mentioned last night, Ralph, whenever you can get Coleman to hit the ball in the air, that is a plus for the pitcher. 1 out.
Coleman, of course, with that great speed, bunted his way on in the first game and got on him when he was hit by a pitch ball. He's had 23 infield hits this year.
I feel as though I can be objective on that because I didn't have good speed or power, either one.
You're saying I'm prejudiced, huh?
I'm saying, yeah. I think you lean toward the home run because you hit a lot. And I can understand that. And I'm by no means saying that power by any means should be underrated. But consider this as the first pitch is a ball to Tommy Herr. The Cardinals, true, have 4 stolen bases and no runs scored in 2 innings with the Mets on top 2-0. And it's 1-1 to Herr. But they have had 2 opportunities to score and score bunches because of the stolen base. Okay.
Great.
And so do you take this situation in these 2 scenarios, if that's the plural of scenario?
Well, what I
Change
feel...
up. Wait, just 1 second. 2-1. Would you take an opportunity to score with Willie McGee hitting with the bases loaded, even though the Cardinals didn't, or Darryl Strawberry hitting against Ricky Horton with nobody on?
That's a tough case because Strawberry does strike out a lot.
Right. But, I mean, all things considered equal, even though the Cardinals didn't score, With the bases loaded, there's strike 2, 2-2, even though the Cardinals didn't score.
The odds of getting Willie McGee to hit into a double play in that spot are mighty slim.
Yeah, and the chances of Strawberry hitting a home run in this park against Horton are slim. And that's just one case in this game, even though in this game, Strawberry did hit the home run and Willie McGee didn't get the runners in. So the fact is that right now, as this one's drilled to right center. Throw to second by Strawberry. Safe. Good play by Herr.
Well, Tommy Herr taking this fastball out over the second baseman's head. Strawberry, good job to get to it. But he has to turn to make it so, and Tommy Herr, who has good speed, moves in ahead of the tag. So Strawberry with a good throw, but Herr just making the play.
And Pendleton, the batter, he struck out his first time up.
So a runner in scoring position on the double by Tommy Herr.
Curveball is high, 1-0. You were saying.
Now I got to get my licks in here.
Certainly.
Take a fellow like Jack Clark,
right,
who has 29 home runs.
Right.
He has 94 runs batted in. He also has 102 stolen bases. How many men? 102 walks.
And walks.
How many men does he get in position by walking that you would not be able to do with a stolen base? The most successful stolen base team, usually successful about 75% of the time. Let's take a look at this pitch. And did he go around? Yes, he did.
Well, not as a league, they're not. As a matter of fact, the National League has never had a 70% stolen base ratio. Now, teams might. Obviously, teams have. The Cardinals and the Mets do this year. Popped up right side, could be playable. Keith Hernandez over near the stands, and he makes the play. So there are 2 outs. And I think you have an excellent point, because there is no question that Jack Clark is the key man in this lineup. He has proven it since he came over, and he's their only home run hitter. No question about that. But consider the opportunities that Jack Clark has because of the stolen base.
Well, it all adds up, because they do have men in scoring position. But the thing you have to remember about home runs is that walks go with home runs.
No question about the threat of the home run is the reason they walk. I agree. And here's Clark, and we'll see if Fernandez, to a point in, or a case in point, will pitch around Clark. He walked for the 11th straight game, his first at bat, intentionally. Ball 1. So it's 1-0 to Clark. It's an enthralling discussion, because I don't think it's really approached enough, because there's nothing clear about the argument. It's 2-0 to Clark.
I think a lot of it depends on the ball club park that you're in. Right here, you can use your speed to a much bigger advantage than you can use a home run. They're going to walk him again.
Yep.
And this is the advantage of being a home run hitter. You get another man on base.
Clark could break the all-time record in walks, and I don't have that right offhand.
170 by Babe Ruth, and Clark now with 103, and he's got a chance. That's a lot of walks.
He will break Miller Huggins' record. Miller Huggins walked 116 times for the Cardinals. That's the Cardinal record. He did it back in 1910, and he's already shattered the walk record for a right-handed hitter by the Cardinals.
That's really an unusually low figure for walks when you think of the history of the St. Louis Cardinals and some of the great hitters they have had, like Johnny Mize, Ducky Medwick, Stan Musial.
But not a lot of home run hitters.
Not a lot of home run hitters. No. That is true.
Foul back. So it's 0-1, and the Cardinals have won more World Series than any other National League team. And second to the Yankees. However, you got to remember the Yankees noted for the long ball and not for speed.
They also noted for a short right field fence that helps for the long ball for left-hand batters.
Sure does. 0-1 to McGee. 2 on, 2 out, 2-0 New York. Ball 1, 1-1. McGee grounded into a double play, his first at bat with the bases loaded and 1 out. Lined foul. 1-2. So he's thrown him 3 fastballs. What do you think?
I think I'd stay with a fastball with McGee. McGee has such an unorthodox swing that anything off speed, he can top and bloop, and he can run. If you throw the fastball up, he'll hit the ball in the air. He is really not a home run hitter, although he's had a good year in the power department this year so far.
And when he hits him, he really hits him. He's hit an upper deck home run twice in this ballpark. There is the fastball, and he fouls it away. Still 1-2.
There are so many nuances to this game of baseball if you really get into it.
No, it's wonderful. Cardinals have led the league in stolen bases 14 times as opposed to the home runs 5 times. Trying to steal 200 or more bases for the 6th straight season this year, and they'll do it.
Now they're well on their way.
Breaking ball tapped towards second. So the strategy with Clark, a big story so far. He's been walked intentionally twice, and the Cardinals have not scored. They have stranded 5.
Coming in now for the play-by-play, Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks a lot, Ralph, and a pleasant good evening to you all. Gary Carter will lead it off. He'll be followed by Howard Johnson and Rafael Santana. And Gary hits a first pitch on a line to left, and it'll go in for a base hit. Coleman doing a good job to keep it from going for extra bases as he had to leap high in the air. So the Mets come right back at him here in the 4th as Carter leads off.
Good job by Coleman to take this high bouncer and hold Carter to a single. In last night's ball game, Carter got a double on a high bouncer that Coleman couldn't handle the way he did this one. So Carter now has had a base hit in this ball game, and he had 3 in yesterday's game.
And Phenia, as Howard Johnson stands in, went out to have a word with Rick Horton. Johnson had a single to center back in the 2nd inning. So the Mets leading 2-0 with Carter at first, nobody out here in the 4th inning. And Carter not very far off the bag, and a balk is called on Horton. The 3rd balk of the year against Rick Horton moves Carter down to second base.
Well, Horton does have a fine move to first, but to have a fine move, you have to be right close to a balk. And right here, the balk is called as the late kick appeared to be too far back. When you swing that front leg back of your back leg, you have to come to the plate. You cannot go back. There he goes back of that left leg with his right. So a balk call. Carter almost picked off. He had no lead at all.
That shows you how good the move was. Off-speed pitch to Johnson, grounded to short. Oquendo over to pick it up. And Johnson beats the play at first base.
And there really is no argument on the play to any degree. And here comes, now the argument comes up as Whitey Herzog, who was ejected from the game in the first game of this series, comes out to take it up with Joe West.
And it was Joe West who ran Whitey last night when Joe was at second base. And Len Dykstra was called safe at second and appeared to be safe at second. This was a much more contained argument.
The extra step by Oquendo to get in throwing position cost him. It looked like he beat it out. Well, it's awfully close. That was really a close play. Let's look at it from this angle. Johnson going down the line in a hurry. And the ball looks like it's just out of the glove there before the foot hits the bag. Awfully tough.
Even though it was a very close play, it appeared to me that Johnson did beat it. Clark had a couple of words to say to Joe West. But especially compared to the argument Whitey Herzog had with Joe at second base last night, not much of an argument at all. So Rafael Santana will stand in there. Santana into the second inning by grounding out to second. The Mets with runners at first and second on back-to-back base hits, still nobody out. And a breaking ball away in the dirt. Ball one.
Mets now with 6 base hits off Horton. They also have received a walk.
Ball two, low and away. Santana studying third base coach Sam Perlazzo.
Well, you wouldn't be in a bunting situation here with the pitcher on deck, although Sid Fernandez is not regarded as an extremely bad hitter.
Grounded sharply and a foul ball outside of third, even though Terry Pendleton makes a good play on it. It'll be strike one, 2-1 to Santana.
Well, Randy Marsh doesn't really indicate this correctly, as he just holds his hands up. Ball has to go over the bag. It appeared with that great shot that it was to the left of the bag and a foul ball. He really should indicate the ball was foul by turning into foul territory.
So 2-1 to Santana. Bill Dawley, who was up earlier, is now throwing once again for St. Louis. And a swing and a miss on a fastball, and the count 2-2. Almost like a playoff atmosphere here, Ralph. With a crowd of 52,000 last night, there aren't as many here tonight.
That might be only 51,997. Cardinals are really drawing tremendously.
2-2 pitch grounded to second base. Johnson eludes the play, is forced at second and not in time at first as Santana beats it. So runners at first and third on the fielder's choice, and now one away.
And a fielder's choice and a good choice by Tommy Herr as he throws to second to get the runner there and keep a runner out of scoring position.
This game is being brought to you in part this evening by RC Cola. People go out of their way for the taste of RC, and by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Lincoln Mercury Mercor dealers.
So we'll look at it again right off the end of the bat. Little squibbler, and Tommy Herr gets the out at second base. O'Kindle should not have thrown that ball. He had no chance in the world to get the runner. If he throws it away, the Mets get a run. He should have held on to it. But no harm done as he threw the ball accurately. But you give yourself every chance in the world to make a mistake when you do that.
And to Jack Clark's credit, he came off the bag to get the ball to be sure that it didn't get away. Sid Fernandez tapped back to Rick Horton, the pitcher, back in the third inning. And he tries to bunt, goes after a pitch outside, and it's strike one.
This is what is known as a safety bunt. They're not trying to get the runner in from third. They're trying to move the runner on first down to second and keep out of the double play.
A straight sacrifice. Sid bunting again, and this time it's a very good bunt. Horton will have to go to first to Herr covering. So the sacrifice successful as Santana moves down to second. And the Mets have two runners in scoring position now with two out.
Horton, in fielding the ball, checks the runner at third. Carter staying on the bag or near the bag at third base, so no play. Carter could move up right here with the third baseman. But of course, you got to remember Carter is not fast. He also is injured, and he's playing hurt.
So Carter at third, Santana at second for Mookie Wilson, who's 0 for 2. Mookie is grounded to third and flying to right. Ball one.
Mets left 14 men on base in last night's win, winning 6-4 with 12 hits. They're doing a lot of that again in this game.
Almost hits Mookie in the feet, and Carter's going to be able to trot home easily. And on down to third goes Santana, and the Mets now lead 3-0 on another wild pitch The second charge to Rick Horton.
So with 2 men out, a big play for the Mets. They pick up another run on this pitch that is low and inside. How Mookie get out of the way without being hit is a wonder. If he had been hit, the run could not score. And Mookie would have been on first. So the Mets actually much better off this way, as Mookie does get out of the way of that fastball. Santana coming over to third on the wild pitch.
And a 2-ball count, tapped back to Horton. And Rick throws it away at first base, and there's a collision as Jack Clark is down. Mookie gets up. He'll go to second. Clark is still shaken up as the ball is retrieved in the St. Louis bullpen. Clark saying he's all right, but the throw took him right across the bag at the same time that Mookie Wilson got there. And Steve Garland is out to look at Wilson, and Gene Gieselman is out to see if Clark is all right, as Jack dropped his glove and walked away from the position. He may have had his arm just go dead on him because of being hit in the elbow.
Well, if they lost Jack Clark, they would be in deep trouble. He is their power man. Last year he was out a lot, and this bad throw by Horton sets it up for the Mets to get another run. An error will be charged to the pitcher as Mookie collides with Jack Clark. And Clark lucky if he did not get hurt seriously. And Horton's wild pitch, and now his error gives the Mets 2 runs with 2 men out.
Well, collisions have been a part of this series so far, with the 3 last night and now 1 here at first base. Both players remaining in the game.
Second baseman Tim Tuttle.
Mookie had the presence of mind to pick up the ball and also pick up his feet and get on down to second as Santana scored to make it 4-0 New York. And here's Tim Tuttle, who has doubled in 2 trips. Ball 1. And again, Horton behind. Ball 2. Tuffle entering this game over the last 13 has hit .404. He hasn't really had a slump this year. Again way outside, 3-0.
Hitting .348 for the year. He's about to hit himself into the lineup on a regular basis. Last night they let him hit against a right-hand pitcher, and he got a big base hit.
Go with a hot hand, and Tuffle certainly has been that. 3-0 is outside, ball 4. Second walk issued by Rick Horton. Runners at first and second. And the batter will be Keith Hernandez, as the Mets have done a lot of damage with a little bit of help from the Cardinals here in the 4th inning with 2 out.
Well, Whitey has a right-hander down in the bullpen, and he's not going to bring him in to pitch to the left-hand batter. This is one time Whitey did not have a left-hander warming up with a right-hander, and I think he would have liked to have done that. Got 2 left-hand batters coming up.
And there's Bill Dawley, who appears to be ready. But with Hernandez and Strawberry, won't get a call. Hernandez has grounded to second and drove in a run with a double in the 3rd. Inside, ball 1.
Keith got that double off a curveball after looking bad on curveballs his first time up when he grounded out to second. This time he gets started off with a fastball.
And that double gave Keith now a 7-game hitting streak. Just inside again, 2-0.
That's 6 in a row out of the strike zone by Horton.
And Mike Rourke coming out again. Last inning, when Rourke was out there, it was probably as much to give Dawley some time as anything else. But here, he's just trying to settle Rick down and get him out of this inning. Horton is scheduled to be the 4th batter up in the bottom half of the 4th for St. Louis. So Whitey trying to get him through this inning and hoping that he'll have 4 hitters come up in the bottom half of the inning so that he can pinch hit for him. A strike over the inside corner. 2-1 to Keith.
Keith has driven in 9 runs against the Cardinals this year, and a chance here with runners at first and second to add to that.
2 balls, 1 strike, 2 out. A ground ball foul outside of first makes it 2-2.
With the count of 2 balls and no strikes, Keith appeared to be looking for a breaking ball there, and that's a time when you can guess when you have the pitcher in the hole. He got a fastball on the inside corner and took it for a strike.
And Keith, apparently with something in his eye, steps out. It's got to be perspiration because there's no wind at all.
Well, they're not. It couldn't be grass.
There's no grass and no wind. There's some wind outside this ballpark, but not inside. 3-2 now to Hernandez, and the runners will be moving with 2 out. Well, Horton has dug a hole for himself here in the 4th inning. Carter led off with a single. Howard Johnson beat out an infield single. Santana reaching on a fielder's choice, the sacrifice, a wild pitch, and then a throwing error on Horton. Then he walked Tuffle. So runners at first and second as they go on the 3-2 pitch. Strike 3. Ricky Horton picks up his first strikeout, and it ends the 4th inning. But the Mets get 2 runs on 2 hits and 1 error, and they lead 2. And in the middle of the 4th, it's now the Mets 4 and the Cardinals nothing. Stadium in St. Louis, almost jam-packed. Here was the scene as Red Schoendienst talked to Rick Horton as Horton came in.
Red, manager here for the Cardinals, longer than any other manager in the history of St. Louis. Now coach with Whitey Herzog.
And he was obviously talking about the balk that was called on Horton and his move to first base.
Balk to move Carter down to second base. Helped the Mets to 2 runs.
Jim Lindemann will lead off the bottom of the 4th with New York leading at 4-0. Lindemann popped out to Keith Hernandez in foul territory to open the 2nd inning. And he hits this off the end of the bat foul for strike 1. I'll tell you, the top half of the 4th, Horton was a one-man show. He had a wild pitch, a balk, a throwing error, walked a guy. And all of those mistakes helping to lead to 2 runs for New York. Breaking ball low, 1-1. Lindemann this year has twice been on the disabled list with back spasms. He started off like a house of fire after a fine spring. Gets a fastball, pops it up. Carter coming back, but it's going to be out of play for strike 2. The count 1-2.
Lindemann got Andy Van Slyke traded by having that great spring. They felt he could do the job in the outfield, and the Cardinals traded Van Slyke over to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Lindemann hasn't had many hits. He entered this game hitting 190 with 19 base hits, but 11 of those have been for extra bases. So when he hits them, he more often than not hits them well. Fastball grounded to third. Johnson backs up for the hop and has to gun him out, and does, for out number 1.
And we'll check out the Nissan American League scoreboard. The Yankees defeated Kansas City 4-0. Started the winning pitcher 3-2. Jackson the loser. California defeated Oakland 5-4. Sutton the winning pitcher in that ball game. And Seattle beat Minnesota by a score of 8-3. It's Chicago 1, Detroit 0 in the 7th inning. It is Boston 5, Toronto 1 in the 5th. Baltimore 4, Cleveland 3 in the 7th. Milwaukee 2, Texas 2 in the third.
Here's Tony Phenia, who singled to center in the second inning, stole second, and then was thrown out at the plate by Mookie Wilson on a great play of blocking the plate and making the tag by Gary Carter. A fastball was high to Phenia, ball 1. You're watching Mets baseball 87 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. That fastball in there, 1-1. One out, nobody on as Phenia readjusts everything. That perspiration will make you adjust your helmet and gloves and everything else. WWOR, we love our Redbirds. Clever. Fernandez has it and throws to Hernandez, and they're 2 away.
Shortstop, Jose Oquendo.
Well, it's time to play Ask Tim and Ralph, and we invite you to send your baseball questions on a postcard to, surprisingly, Ask Tim and Ralph. WWOR-TV, 9 Broadcast Plaza, Secaucus, New Jersey, 07094. All questions selected on the air will receive a copy of Ralph Kiner's book, Kiner's Corner, and Tim McCarver's book, Oh Baby, I Love It. The address again, Ask Tim and Ralph, WWOR-TV, 9 Broadcast Plaza, Secaucus, New Jersey, 07094. And we will have our first Ask Tim and Ralph question the next half inning. Are you ready, Ralphie?
We have to go on this thing without a rehearsal.
Jose Oquendo fouls it back for strike 1. Jose flied to shallow center back of the second. Batting with 2 out, nobody on. Well, I've seen the question.
Have you? I haven't.
Well, I know you haven't.
I'd like to have
we planned it that way.
At that,
no,
at
you
that
know
question.
this one. You know this one. I know you know this one. Strike 2 to Oquendo.
Good changeup there by Sid Fernandez. He struck out Pendleton with a changeup back in the first, and that was a big strikeout.
That curveball just missed outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Oquendo has played 7 different positions this year.
He's in the running there for the MVP. He's also, as a pinch hitter, hitting .700. So he's been doing a lot of things well for St. Louis. Another breaking ball outside, and the count 2-2. Tom Lawless out on deck to pinch hit for Rick Horton should Oquendo get aboard. And the fastball missed, strike 3. So a 1-2-3 inning with the second strikeout of the game for Sid Fernandez, who's working on a shutout through 4. The Mets lead it 4-0 over the Cardinals. And we're back after this for Express. Well, Tony Phenia has moved from behind the plate to first base because apparently Jack Clark was shaken up sufficiently to give him a little rest. Steve Lake on to catch behind the plate now for the Cardinals. And Rick Horton remains in the game as Sid Fernandez retired the cards in order in the bottom of the 4th, and Horton's spot in the order did not get to the plate. 4-0 New York. And before we go to the top of the 5th, let's ask our first Ask Tim and Ralph question of the year. This one is for Mr. Kiner, and it is: who is the only pitcher to pitch back-to-back no-hitters in consecutive starts? And it comes from Scott Stafford of New York. So, Scott, whether Ralph gets it or not, you win the books. Darryl Strawberry leads off and takes the ball outside.
You couldn't ask me about home run hitting, could you? You had to pick a pitcher's.
I didn't pick it, pal. Scott Stafford picked it. 1-1 to Strawberry.
Years ago, when the Mets acquired the services of Dick Stewart, they had a program on TV called Stump Stewart.
Strike 2, 1-2.
And he couldn't answer any of the questions. And finally, they got to the point where they were asking him, how many home runs did Babe Ruth hit when he set the home run record? And he says, I don't know.
Well, that will not be the case with you and Tim, I'm sure. Strawberry pops it up into short left center. Oquendo out and calling for it. And there's 1 out here in the 5th inning. Would you like to hazard your guess Well, I know it's not a guess, but would you like to give us the answer for Scott Stafford now, sir?
Well, did he pitch for the Cincinnati Reds?
Yes, he did.
And did he pitch back-to-back no-hitters against Boston and Brooklyn?
That is correct. You want
and the game he pitched against Brooklyn was the first night game ever played at Ebbets Field.
And do you know what year that was?
And I would guess the year was 1935.
Well, in every other respect, you are correct.
1938, then.
That is correct.
1938, and the fellow's name was Johnny Vandenberg.
Absolutely right. So, Scott, stand by for your 2 books, even though you didn't stump Ralphie with that one.
I'm one up on McCarver already.
Yeah, but he hasn't been to bat yet.
No.
It's the top of the first.
Maybe we can get rained out.
Kevin McReynolds takes inside, and the count now 2 balls, 1 strike.
You know, Ewell Blackwell almost did the same thing. He pitched a no-hitter and had a no-hitter going into the 9th inning against the Brooklyn Dodgers. And Eddie Stanky got a base hit with 1 out right through his legs.
1 hopper to Herr that doesn't go through his legs, and there are 2 out here in the 5th. And that'll bring up Len. Okay. Gary Carter with 2 out, nobody on. Carter 1 for 2. He singled to left and scored in the 4th inning.
That's my kind of contest. You win whether you lose or not.
You can't lose in that deal. As long as your question's selected. Base hit left field. Oquendo with a diving attempt, but Carter, who's been hot, has his 2nd hit of the night. He's 2 for 3, and he's at first with 2 out.
Well, Carter now with 5 hits in the first 2 games of this series. And he hits it by Oquendo, and Oquendo, a fine fielding shortstop, unable to get to it. Jose started his major league career with the New York Mets.
That's the 7th New York hit as the Mets lead it 4-0. And here's Howard Johnson, who's 2 for 2. Ojo singled to center and had an infield base hit that he beat out in the 4th. Off speed's in there for strike 1. I gotta really tell Scott Stafford, though, who sent that question in, that was a little too easy. I mean, even I knew that answer. You know, I mean,
are you
don't
campaigning for tougher questions?
Yes. If I'm going to ask him, I want him to be, have a little more substance here. Strike called, and it's 0-2.
If they get any tougher, going to have to get the textbook up here like they do in those talk shows.
Go to the source.
Go right to the source.
The baseball encyclopedia. You'll be toting around all the record books, and
I got enough stuff now.
That's right. Off Horton's glove. Oquendo will come up with it, but not have a play, as Johnson's going to be 3 for 3 on another infield hit that Horton knocked down but couldn't corral.
Right here, the ball bounced back to Horton. He's had a tough night. And it's off his glove. Oquendo unable to throw Johnson out. Johnson with a blue base hit to center. He got a questionable base hit on a call by the umpire at first, and now this infield hit. He'll take him any way he can get them. 3 for 3.
Rafael Santana reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the 4th inning. He's 0 for 2. And he takes high, ball 1. Bill Dolly, on a night like tonight, he doesn't need this much time down there, I'll guarantee you.
Comb your hair and get warm. He'll be in this ball game because they'll pinch hit for Horton.
Number off the end of the bat that rolls foul before it gets to the first base bag. So strike 1 to Santana, the count 1-1. Now the Mets trying to do it again with 2 out. Back in the 2nd, Darryl Strawberry homered. But then in the 3rd, that was leading off the inning, 1-0 New York. Then in the 3rd with 2 out, the Mets got back-to-back doubles to lead 2-0. And in the 4th with 2 out, they scored 2 more to lead 4-0. And here in the 5th with 2 out, Carter and Johnson have each singled. 2-out base hits have not been part of the Mets' regular repertoire this season. A fastball grounded to second. Herr, with plenty of time, throws to Phenia, and the inning is over. So 2 hits and 2 left in the 5th for the Mets, and we'll go to the bottom half of the 5th inning with New York still leading St. Louis 4-0. Stadium. They had not won a game this season prior to last night, winning 6-4 and leading 4-0 here in game 2 of this 3-game series on a rather sultry night. So as Tom Wallace will lead it off, pinch hitting for Rick Horton in the 5th inning. Back in to call it once again. Here's Ralph Kiner.
Okay, a pinch hitter for the pitcher, Rick Horton. Mets have 4 runs on a total of 8 hits. And they have left 7 men on base.
Wallace is 0 for 8 overall and 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter. So Tom without a hit at all this year.
Sid Fernandez on the mound for the Mets. He has given up no runs on 3 hits. And there you see Artie Richmond, assistant to the general manager, Frank Cashin of the New York Mets, and Father Dan.
Father Dan Murphy, sort of the unofficial chaplain of the ball club, I guess.
And Lawless hits the first pitch into right field. Strawberry a long way to go, but back to the warning track and making the play. So 1 away.
Channel 9 Sports and Gary Carter have teamed up to fight leukemia and related diseases, and they invite you to join them by contributing $15. Buy a check to the Leukemia Society of America, Sports Cap, 205 Lexington Avenue, New York 10016. You will receive a wool baseball cap carrying the Channel 9 Sports logo for your donation.
And the batter now for the Cardinals, Vince Coleman. Coleman hit by a pitch ball, got all the way to 3rd in the 1st inning, stealing 2nd and 3rd base. Then his next time up, he flied out to center field. Coleman a switch hitter. And the first pitch a called strike.
Coleman now has been on base by either walking, getting a hit, or getting hit by a pitch 86 of the 91 games he's played this year. That's amazing.
And Coleman had an idea about bunting and was going to take it, saw it break in the strike zone, tried to bunt it. We have word on Jack Clark, who left the ball game. He has right arm contusions, and he's being making left arm contusions, and he's going to have his right elbow x-rayed after that collision with Mookie Wilson on an errant throw by the pitcher, Rick Horton. And that pitch is fouled down, strike 2. And you'd have to say, Steve, that if Jack Clark would be out of action for any amount of time, it would certainly damper the chances of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, he's produced about half of their offense, is about the best way to put it. Half of their total home runs, about a 4th of their runs directly attributable to the bat of Jack Clark.
And the fastball taken for a ball, 1-2. Mookie Wilson, not a very big man, but right here he runs into a much larger man.
Well, the throw by Horton took Jack Clark across the bag and into the path of Mookie, who was actually on the outside part of the bag. And Mookie ran smack into Clark's outstretched arm, probably hyperextending it.
Ground ball to 3rd, and it is booted by Howard Johnson. And once again, Coleman is on. So Johnson coming up with another error at 3rd base.
This ball hit right at Johnson. Tries to come up with a tough in-between hop. Thought he had it for a second, but never did have control.
That is his 19th error. And it puts a runner on first with 1 out. And, of course, that runner has never been thrown out by the Mets. Coleman now with 25 stolen bases and 25 attempts against the Mets. Tommy Herr, the batter. Herr has walked and doubled in his 2 appearances. And Sid Fernandez over to first base. I've got to believe that you just got to forget about Coleman. He's going to steal anyway. You just got to keep your concentration on the hitter.
I agree. You've got a 4-run lead right now. Coleman's run, even if he does get around and score, doesn't mean a whole lot. And if you don't get the hitter, the Cardinals have a chance for a big inning.
And there's a ball way inside. 1 ball, no strikes. You just got to keep from having the Cardinals get a big inning if you're in the situation that Sid Fernandez is in. One run doesn't change the ball game that much. Cardinals in the first inning had a batter hit by a pitch ball, 2 walks, and 3 stolen bases and didn't score. And this ball bunted down the third base side, but foul. That would be a bunt for base hit, not a sacrifice.
If Sid Fernandez does not concentrate at the task at hand, even though he has a 4-run lead, pretty soon he could find himself facing the tying run at the plate. And check this out. Carter stood Tom Herr's bat right up on the plate on its end. Tom uses a bat that has the end hollowed out, so you can do that.
And who said the world was round? And another throw to first base, Coleman back. Cardinals with 4 stolen bases in this game. Sid Fernandez certainly not known for having a good move. He takes a lot of time to release the ball to home plate with that high kick.
Coleman with a real big lead right now. I think he was going.
Made a little move towards second, didn't he? When the Mets were battling the Cardinals, when the Cardinals ended up being the National League champions, Sid Fernandez was bypassed as a starting pitcher for Rick Aguilera. This ball hit in the air to deep left field. It's way back. McReynolds to the wall, and it's off of his glove. Coleman going to third, now being waved in. A play at the plate. The throw is not in time, and Coleman scores as Herr ends up at second base.
Fastball right out over the plate as Sid Fernandez fell behind Tom Herr and worrying about Vince Coleman. McReynolds thought he had that ball all the way. And inexplicably, it just bounced right out of his glove. Santana's relay not in time, even though Coleman held up. Now Vince is stealing on the play. Now he sees the ball. He can still get back to first if he has to. And now he's going to come on to score when he sees the ball pop out of McReynolds' glove.
So now the batter, Terry Pendleton, and the fastball is fouled away. They're scoring that as a 2-base hit. And a run batted in for Tommy Herr, his second double of this game. Run scoring is unearned as Coleman reached on the error by Johnson. Cardinals have not been shut out this year. Herr ball hit to right field, a base hit. Herr will come in to score. And the Cardinals get their second run, and they have cut the Mets lead to 2.
Gary Carter out to talk to Sid. This breaking ball, and Pendleton waits on it beautifully and just lashes it to right field. Strawberry not wanting Pendleton to be able to advance to second properly, did not throw home, and now the Cardinals do bring the tying run to the plate.
And the batter will be Steve Blake, batting for the first time. He came into the ball game when Jack Clark went out of the game, and Phenia took over at first. Terry Leach throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. Blake hitting .270 for the year. 2 home runs, 16 runs batted in, and the first pitch is ball 1. Clark in RBI situations, as you look at the line score, 4-2 Mets, was walked twice intentionally, and both times it worked for the Mets. Now it's Steve Blake, and this one off the end of the bat, and Fernandez knocks it down. Pendleton, rounding second, decides to hold there, and the Cardinals are coming back.
Keith Hernandez playing near the line and holding the runner on made a valiant effort, but the ball just off the end of his glove. He deflected it as Tuffle is breaking over in an effort to make the play. Tim had to change directions and go out and retrieve it very quickly in an effort to keep Pendleton at second base. So an error and then 3 base hits with 1 out here in the 5th.
And the batter coming up is Willie McGee. McGee grounded into a double play with the bases loaded and 1 out in the first inning. And with runners at first and second in the third, he grounded out for the last out of that inning. Fastball swung on and fouled out of play. McGee hit an even 300 for the year.
And so far in this ball game, Willie McGee has not been able to handle Sid Fernandez's fastball. He has fouled it off when he has made contact against it the other way every time.
And the pitch to the plate is a fastball once again, but low, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the ever-present bottle of acid relief back there on the shelf as Davy Johnson watches the events of this game. Mets leading 4-2, but the tying runners at first with 1 man out. We're in the bottom half of the 5th. Fastball popped up in foul territory, out of play. Cardinals have come from behind to win 35 of their 61 games. Mel Stoudemire and Davy Johnson. Stoudemire, an outstanding pitcher for the Yankees in their poor days. Davy Johnson, of course, an outstanding player in the major leagues in the American League, and then later with Philadelphia. Swing and a miss, and McGee is struck out. 3rd strikeout for Sid Fernandez. Could be a big one.
Well, he set him up with those fastballs, and now he breaks off a terrific curveball and has McGee way out on his front foot and back to the dugout.
And that brings up Jim Linderman. Runners at first and second, 2 men out. Linderman has fouled out and has grounded out. And the fastball is swung on a miss, strike 1.
Sid, who has had a problem earlier in his career, tiring, especially in hot and humid weather, seemed to have great velocity on that fastball to Linderman.
Fernandez lifetime against the Cardinals 4-3, 2-0 last year. And the fastball topped out. A tough play for Tuffle. And he throws to first base and in time. And an argument on the play as the Mets get the call, and that ends the inning. 2-run score, 1 of them unearned, and this probably saves 1 run, maybe more. Lonnie Herzog out to pick up the argument. The second time he's had this argument in this game with Joel West.
Well, here's the play again. Tuffle screened on the play by Lake. And, man, I think he was safe.
Looks safe to me.
No call of interference. No contact was made. And it appears that Linderman does beat the throw at first, but Keith Hernandez, one of the best at cheating off the bag, did so with great effectiveness that time.
So 2 runs on 3 hits and 2 men left to score at the end of 5. It's the Mets 4 and the Cardinals 2. Now here's a word from Nissan. Bill Dolly with his first pitch to the pinch hitter Wally Backman, batting for the pitcher Sid Fernandez, and it's ball 1.
Dolly 4-7, a 4.20 ERA. His 43rd appearance. He's picked up 2 saves, working 70 2/3 innings, walking 25, striking out 54.
1 ball, no strikes. Backman fouling off a fastball, and that evens a count at 1-1. Backman hitting .252 for the year with no home runs, 15 RBIs. Sid Fernandez out of the ball game. The Mets leading by a score of 4-2. Sid could pick up his 11th win of the year. He has lost 6.
Wally does not have a pinch hit this year. He's 0 for 9.
And the next delivery way out of the strike zone. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Terry Leach appears to be ready.
Ground ball off of Dolly's back. He loses his glove, picks up the ball, throws to first base for the out.
Well, this ball almost undressed Bill Dolly. It tore the glove right off his hand. Watch him slap at it. He knocks it down, loses his glove, stays with the ball, and fires one. Phenia with a nice stretch to keep that toe on the bag to get the out. So a good play by Bill Dolly.
And that will bring up Mookie Wilson. Mets leading 4-2. Dolly broke a personal 11-game losing streak with a victory back on May 28th against Atlanta. And his first pitch, ball 1. He has won 4 of his last 6 decisions since that victory. And this one right back to him, and again, he's able to handle it.
Dolly must feel like he's in a shooting gallery. I mean, this is another rocket that he just does turn around and get his hands up to gather in before it goes right off his chest. Self-preservation.
That'll bring up Tim Tuffle. Tuffle with a base hit and 2 official at-bats. He also was walked on 4 pitches. Mets leading 4-2. 4 runs on 8 hits. They made 1 error. The Cardinals 2 runs on 6 hits, and they made 1 error. High slider for a ball. And a good breaking ball there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, tonight we're going to have a special edition of Kiner's Corner. Kiner's Corner on the road tonight, so be sure to stay with us after the ball game is over. And again, the breaking ball. This one fouled down 1-2. Immediately following tonight's ball game, Kiner's Corner.
The show has been such a hit for 26 years in New York, they decided to take it on the road.
Usually open on the road.
Right. You got it backwards, partner. You're supposed
Maybe
to
they're
take it
trying
on
to
the
tell
road.
me something.
Work those kinks out, then you go to New York.
Get out of town. 4 and a fastball right in there for strike 3. So Bill Dolly with 2 spectacular plays. And also a strikeout, handling the inning in great style. And the score at the end of 6, it's the Mets 4 and the Cardinals 2. Now here's a word from Valvoline Motor Oil.
Well, the amazing Terry Leach is on in relief of Sid Fernandez. Terry 8-0 with a 2.44 ERA. No saves, making his 27th appearance in 77 1/3 innings. He's walked 15, struck out 34, allowed 7 home runs and 21 earned runs. And Terry Leach, who has avoided knee surgery, although his right knee has bothered him with some partially damaged cartilage, hanging in there and doing anything and everything the New York Mets have asked him to do.
Making his first appearance after coming off the DL, and he'll be pitching to Tony Phenia as his first batter. Mets leading by a score of 4-2, bottom half of the 6th inning.
Sid Fernandez worked 5, gave up 2 runs, 1 earned. He gave up 6 hits. He struck out 3, walked 3, 2 intentionally.
And Leach with that sidearm motion delivers a fastball. It's fouled off. The X-rays taken on Jack Clark's right elbow have proven to be negative.
That's a good sign, but not necessarily does it mean that he's not injured.
That is true. Of course, earlier in the year, in April, the Mets saw a freak play take John Tudor out of action, and he still is out of action. Ground ball down to first base. Good play by Hernandez. Now Leach takes the throw for the out. Keith Hernandez with that great range.
Shortstop, Jose Oquendo.
And a good job by Leach to get over there. You see Terry breaking immediately. Keith going way into the hole and gives the usual perfect throw, leading the pitcher right before he steps on the bag. Good play by both players.
That'll bring up Jose Oquendo, who has flied out to center and has struck out. Oquendo now batting from the left-hand side. Oquendo with a better average batting left-handed than right. And at one time, he gave up batting left-handed.
Jose's biggest problem was that he was 19 years old and he wasn't mature. He's not a large man by any stretch of the imagination anyway. And they were just knocking the bat out of his hand from the left side until he grew up a little bit.
1-0 pitch, and it's on the inside corner, called strike. Oquendo going to that Rod Carew type stance, and it has certainly worked.
Well, the one advantage of laying that bat back like that is that you don't really have to be as strong to bring the bat around into the hitting area.
Hitting .320, and he grounds this ball foul. So the count 1-2 on Jose Oquendo.
Ted Williams' theory was always that you hold the bat up as Pat Perry warms up for the Cardinals. You hold the bat straight up. And of course, Darryl Strawberry curls the bat back around. Anyone who does that has to have great hand strength in order to get the bat quickly enough through the hitting area.
And the fastball high, 2-2. One thing about laying the bat off like that, you have a shorter distance to cover, so you can eliminate some of the time when you're getting to the ball. And the fastball again. The count stays at 2-2 in the foul ball. Cincinnati clobbered San Diego 15-5 today with 19 base hits. And this pitch bounced out to the second base side, fielded by Tuffle, and the out at first. So 2 men away, and Dolly will be hitting. Mets leading 4-2. The pitcher will hit.
Pitcher Bill Dolly.
Well, that's a mild surprise, especially since in the next inning for the Mets, the first two hitters are Hernandez and Strawberry, and he has Pat Perry warming up. I would pinch hit here and bring Perry in to face the left-handed hitters, but Whitey opting not to do that.
And last night's ball game saw Darling hit when the Mets were behind, and he singled. And also hitting in last night's ball game, Morrell, when the Cardinals needed some help, and he singled. So maybe they know something. Dolly with a big swing and strike two.
I mean, why is Pat Perry warming up if he's not going to face the two left-handed hitters next inning?
Don't ask embarrassing questions.
There's one for Ask Tim and Ralph.
That's right.
Boy, the answer to that ought to earn a couple of books.
You get two.
I already got them, thanks.
Dolly, 2 for 11 as a batter. 2 strikes to count. And it's chopped foul. Mets leading 4-2. 2 men out, bottom of the 6th inning. Mets got 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th. The Cardinals got 2 in the 5th. 1 of them unearned. And it's strike 3. So Terry Leach working a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout. And the score as Tim McCarver joins Steve Zabriskie. It is the Mets 4, the Cardinals 2.
I recently received a letter from a young man named John B. It's either Rago, or Rago, who sent me some wonderful pictures chronologizing the sideburns of Mr. McCarver. The first one you saw was 73, then 74. Here's 1975 with Boston, and then 1978. As you see, the sideburns have now grown into hair over the ears. And Tim has gotten meaner also as the years have gone by.
That's what happens when you age.
Now, as we go to the 7th inning, a man who somehow over the last 10 years has totally lost all those sideburns. Tim McCarver.
I thought you were going to say totally lost him. Fastball is high to Hernandez. I appreciate the chronology of my hirsuteness.
Oh, how nice.
1-0 to Hernandez.
Yes, the different styles of quaffing through the years.
Actually, I had no hair on top in those days. That's why I kept wearing my hat. The funny story is it's 1-1 to Hernandez, 4-2 New York. And I'll tell you this hilarious story after this pitch. Fastball is low. Dick Grote was ball-headed. He was almost ball-headed when he played basketball at Duke. And one of the funniest scenes that happened more than once was when Dick went from his hard hat to his soft hat. He had to have very good eyes to see it. Fouled away 2-2.
Real quick hands.
Changed his hat like Kreskin might, you know.
From the
you could barely see it. He did not want anybody, when he was in a uniform. I mean, he'd go after a pop fly in foul territory. His hat never came off. I think he used glue, honestly. Dick, a great guy and a great baseball man. Very, very bright man. Knew the game, could really play. But that's something that, you know, a lot of fans don't realize how, not insecure, but sensitive a guy like Dick was about his hair. And that was before transplants and all that stuff.
But yet he would go out after the game without a hat on, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he wouldn't wear his baseball cap.
I mean, he didn't leave the park with a hat on.
He'd go into restaurants or everything with his baseball cap on.
But on the field, he just didn't.
Yeah, he just didn't want anybody to see him in a baseball uniform and to know that he was bald-headed. 3-2 to Hernandez. Still fouled away.
Well, I want to thank John Rago from Clearwater, Florida, for sending me those baseball cards. And
yeah, I do too. Thanks a million.
We could have had one from like 59, you know.
Oh yeah, crew cut. Complexion hadn't cleared up yet. I mean, so I was still in my Clearasil days. Lined, base hit by the diving Herr. Good play in right field by John Morris to hold Hernandez to a single. So second hit for the Met first baseman Keith Hernandez.
Her diving can't get it as Hernandez really stalled at it. And you're right, Timmy, a fine play as Lindemann in right field was over there in a hurry to cut that ball off. He was not playing Hernandez into right center field, so he had to have reacted very quickly.
I thought you had an excellent point in the bottom of the 6th. Not that you necessarily gain anything by having Strawberry takes a strike, by having somebody pinch hit for Dolly, but you get him out of there, and what's Pat Perry warming up for if not to pitch to Hernandez and Strawberry? And Ralph following up with some strange moves last night, even though Whitey Herzog was watching the game on television. Strike 2 to Strawberry, 0-2.
Well, so Hernandez greets Dolly with a single here, although Dolly does have Strawberry in the hole, 0-2. Maybe Whitey just changed his mind and had Perry up and decided.
Strawberry down, however. Second strikeout for Dolly. Really tied him up with that 0-2 pitch.
Good fastball and a good location. And Darryl, certainly with a 2-strike count, can't take it and can't hit it either.
So Kevin McReynolds the batter.
I guess Whitey's thinking had to be that if the Cardinals got something going, he would pinch hit and have Perry ready to come in.
Line drive foul. 0-1.
But with 2 out and nobody on, he just elected to go ahead and have Dolly hit and save the player.
Same situation last night in the bottom of the 7th inning. Todd Worrell in there, and Kurt Ford and Tony Pena made the first 2 outs. Worrell hit, he got a base hit, but that's not the point. That allowed Davy Johnson to use Dykstra and Mazzilli in the top of the 8th, and both of them scored. Pena makes the play. Tony coming a long way for that. And they're 2 away. And the batter, Gary Carter. Gary 2 for 3 on the night.
Catcher Gary Carter.
4-2 New York. The Mets with single runs in the 2nd and 3rd. Darryl Strawberry starting the scoring with his 23rd home run. And then 2 runs in the top of the 4th. An error prominently figuring in the scoring. And it was an error that opened the gates for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 5th inning. So both errors made in the game led to runs.
Carter apparently wants to change something. After he got in the box, he went to home plate umpire Paul Runge, and he's going to his equipment bag to get, I think, another glove. Could be that one batting glove had a hole in it that he just discovered when he got to the plate.
While we have some time, a get well wishes really from the Anheuser-Busch Company. Lou Sussman, who is ahead of the brewery here, actually ahead of the Cardinals, asked me to pass along get well to Joe and Terry Stack. They're watching tonight in New York, and Bobby Ojeda wants me to wish a get well to Barbara Mangone, M-A-N-G-O-N-E, St. Vincent's Hospital in Staten Island. The snap throw by Lake almost had Hernandez.
Steve Lake taking a page from Tony Pena's book and firing it down to Pena, now playing first base. And Lake looked like he had his mind made up he was going to do that before he even received the pitch, as Hernandez was getting a pretty good lead.
Slider outside, 1-1 to Carter.
Gary's been looking a lot better at the plate lately, and now has 5 hits in these 2 games.
A couple of doubles last night, 3 for 5. Grounds this one foul, so it's 1-2 to Carter, and you can look for the slider from Dolly here. Dolly broke an 11-game losing streak over 2 seasons earlier this year with a win back in late May. He was 0-7 for the White Sox last year. Slider gets Carter. 3rd strikeout for Bill Dolly. The Mets fail to score, but they have the lead 4-2 after 6.5. Now here's a word from Ford.
It's not too late to capture all the drama and excitement of last year's championship season with your 1987 New York Mets yearbook. This 128-page commemorative yearbook contains color action photos of all the Mets, bios and statistics on the team, a 32-page special section on the Mets postseason play, and concludes with a full-color photo of the '86 World Champions. To order your '87 Mets yearbook, mail a check or money order made payable to New York Mets for $5 plus $2 for postage and handling, and send it to House of Hibbert, CN 05950, Trenton, New Jersey 08651, or call 1-800-THE-METS. Coming up on Sunday afternoon, August 9th at 1:35, the Mets will be hosting the Chicago Cubs, and it'll be MetLife Adult Jersey Day, as all fans 15 and over will receive a specially designed 3/4 sleeve V-neck baseball underjersey just like this, courtesy of MetLife. Tickets are available at Ticketron outlets, Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX during regular business hours for ticket information. And even though the Mets are up 4-2, some things happened in the first 2 innings like this. Well, Willie McGee hitting into a double play with 1 out and 2 runners, bases loaded, brother, to end the inning. And then in the 2nd inning, with 2 out, a single by Rick Horton to center field, Mookie Wilson strong throw, and watch Gary Carter block out Tony Pena keep Phenia off the plate and then tag him for the final out of the inning. Those two plays really two of the biggest reasons why the Mets lead at 4-2 right now.
Just think about it. The Cardinals have stranded 7, and Willie McGee has come up with 7 guys on base and has not delivered. He has stranded 6 of those 7. Coleman takes a ball outside. As is often the case, it's imperative to get Coleman, because if he gets on leading off an inning, and he often leads it off, chances are he'll score. Line drive sharply at Santana. 1 out, and a big one.
Good play by Raffy, because that ball hit on the turf on one hop right at a player is not a routine play. This ball really smacked, and Santana staying right in front of it, using those good hands to cushion the ball so it had no chance of popping out of the glove.
Yeah, and kind of an interesting point. Normally, with a normal left-handed hitter up there, Santana's back a couple of steps. By playing in, another thing that happens, a lot of times you get that in-between hop.
It happened to Howard Johnson at third base to Coleman earlier.
That's exactly right. Here's Tommy Herr, who's 2 for 2. And coming into this game, he was 14 for his last 94.
In addition to that, when he doubled in the 3rd inning, Tom Herr broke an 0 for 13 skid, and he's doubled now twice.
Has an RBI, a run scored, a walk, a stolen base.
Did you see Carter keeping his hand behind his back?
Yeah.
And well after the ball was gone.
Jesse Orozco now warming for New York.
Gary really took a bad one on the thumb last night when his hand was behind his back. A ball was fouled down between his legs, came up behind him, and jammed his thumb.
Unbelievable. This one on the corner, so it's 0-2 to Tommy Herr.
He's playing tonight because it's only twice its normal size. If it were maybe 3 times its normal size, he might not be in there.
Well, I'll tell you, his nickname in Montreal was Lights. Everybody said he tried to grab center stage all the time. As this one fouled away. He has just been a terrific player for the Mets, and he has played through a number of injuries, and you just have to give Gary Carter all the credit in the world. He's back there every day. He never complains. He jumps from the whirlpool into his uniform, taped up, has every part of his body hurting, and he'll feel it later on more than he will now. Over 1,600 games caught. Amazing durability. Tapped off the foot of Tommy Herr.
Earlier this year, Tommy was wearing, and he still is, a protective guard over that ankle. And it looks like this one gets him right on top of the foot on the instep, however, where you really can't wear any protection. He's going to move that thing down a little bit.
Uh-oh. Here he comes.
Second appearance of the game for executive trainer Gene Gieselman.
I'm not saying that Gene is sadistic, but when there is a television game, he's not really hoping a player gets hurt. But he does enjoy being on camera. I mean, the man was really made for the camera.
He told me, however, today that you can't get on him about sitting next to Whitey in the dugout to get on camera last night, because he was next to Whitey in the clubhouse after Whitey got thrown out.
That's a good point. Gene really not running off the field, that inimitable run of his. And he's disappearing into the tunnel, and that also is rare.
Off night for Gino.
Oh, he's a great guy. We love the kid, Gene Gieselman. And, of course, he loves his name mentioned on national television. There's Ozzie Smith out with a sprained ankle from last night's ball game. Still 0-2 to Tommy Herr. Outside, 1-2. 4-2, New York. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Mets trying to make it 6.5, and should they beat the Cardinals, the Expos will be 5 games back as they clouted the Cubs today at Wrigley. Base hit for Herr, his 3rd in a row.
there's nothing like the Mets coming to town as far as Tom Herr is concerned to get out of a slump. Tommy told me earlier in the year when the Mets were playing the Cardinals in the first series of the season that nothing gets him up more than playing against the New York Mets. So he's using it tonight with 3 hits to break out of that slump he's been in.
Here's Terry Pendleton. Yeah, this is a legitimate rivalry. No question about that. I think players from both sides feel the same way. 1-0 to Terry Pendleton, who represents the tying run. And you're watching Mets Baseball 87 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Glad you've joined us tonight. I'm Tim McCarver, along with Steve Zabriskie and Ralph Kiner. Foul back, 1-1. Pendleton 1 for 3, an RBI single in the 5th. His first at bat as a left-hander.
Pendleton, who drove in a run in the 5th, now has 60 RBIs, and this year he's batting .333 with runners in scoring position.
Fastball is low, 2-1. And we'd mentioned it before, Terry, with 43 walks this year, it's more than coincidental that as a player's walks go up, his batting average goes up. It's not really the walks, it's how he's approaching his at-bats, hitting a lot in front of the count. Ball hit deep to left center. McReynolds back, Wilson over, and he drops the ball. McReynolds retrieves it. Oh, brother. So Mookie Wilson looked like he was worried about whether McReynolds was going to run into him or not.
And I think it probably was been an easier play for Kevin McReynolds. McReynolds dropped the ball in the 5th inning. Now Mookie calling. Now he pulls up, and when he pulls up, the ball goes off his glove. Mookie has to backhand this ball. McReynolds, with his glove on his left hand, would not have had a backhand play, and Kevin was there in plenty of time. Now Tom Herr sees the play. He's going to hold up. Now he sees the ball drop, and he goes to third, unable to score, of course. Now center fielder has the right of way and makes the call, but I still think that ball's more catchable under those circumstances for McReynolds.
And I don't believe they gave Terry Pendleton a double on that, not giving Lee Mazzilli a double last night.
Well, that's
very strange and very poor scoring.
That's home scoring.
Very poor. And the batter's going to be John Morris.
Batting for catcher Steve Lake.
And he's pinch hitting for Steve Lake, the catcher. So Phenia unusually was behind the plate. Then he went to first, and now he's going to be back behind the plate as Davey Johnson's going to make a move. And the Mets really, for this predicament, have only themselves to blame. It's 4-2. The Cardinals have runners at second and third and 1 out. And we'll be back with this break after this word from American Airlines.
Jesse Orozco on in relief with a record of 2-7 and 14 saves, a 5.12 ERA. Jesse making his 36th appearance. In 45 2/3 innings, he's walked 22, struck out 47, and given up 4 home runs. And of course, Jesse's last outing, not exactly one he wants to remember. Sunday afternoon at Shea Stadium.
4 earned runs by the Houston Astros after Jesse had retired the first 2 in the 9th. And Ozzie Smith is going to be the pinch hitter for John Morris.
Ozzie hitting .292, no homers, and 54 RBIs. He does not have an official at-bat as a pinch hitter. I think Ozzie and Gary are talking right there about the play at the plate last night on which Smith sprained his ankle.
So there's 1 out. Runners at second and third, and the Mets with a 2-run lead. But some shaky defense in the 5th, and now here in the 7th by the Mets. And the breaking ball is high. 1 ball, no strikes to Ozzie Smith with Willie McGee on deck. Fastball for a strike. 1-1 to Ozzie Smith. Terry Leach working 1 1/3, and he gave up 2 hits. Outside, 2-1, and of course, should the runner score, they'll be charged to Leach. Herr at third base, Pendleton at second. Breaking ball, grounded to second. Herr's going to score, but the Mets get the out. Give Ozzie Smith an RBI. And for Ozzie, 55 RBIs without a home run.
Center fielder, Willie McGee.
And the batter, Willie McGee again.
Well, this is why there's a big difference between a 2-run lead and a 1-run lead. The Mets giving up the run, as it is not the tying run, to get the out and make it 2 outs in the inning. Now they still, however, have a runner at third in Pendleton, who is the tying run.
Now Willie McGee has come up with 7 runners on base tonight, and he has not delivered yet. He has left them all. Fly ball, right field, Strawberry over, and he makes the play. Make that 8 runners left by Willie McGee. Technically, with the double play ball, he erased 1. Instead of having him left, he erased that runner. So a tough night for Willie. A tenuous 4-3 lead for the Mets. And we'll be back after this word from Bud Light. Come on back with us. The Cardinals with more changes than a 6-month-old. Oquendo has moved into right field. Jim Lindemann in from right to first base. And Ozzie Smith will remain in the game and play short. And behind the plate again, Tony Phenia.
More changes than a 6-month-old. I can identify with that.
Yeah, I think we all can, all of us daddies. Fastball is low. 1-0 to Howard Johnson. Hojo having a good night. He is 3 for 3. 4-3 New York. The Mets with 9 hits, St. Louis with 8. Top of the 8th inning. Dawley in relief of Horton. Ball 2. Roger McDowell now up for New York. A good job by Jesse Orozco. You mentioned that bad outing on Sunday. Well hit to right. Oquendo back, and he makes the play. Oh, man. 1 out.
This ball is a tracer to right field, and Oquendo originally, when he broke, sort of hesitated. And he thought maybe the ball was going to be over his head and he'd have to play it off the wall, and he didn't want to get too close. Then he started going again and somehow caught up to it. Boy, he's just done a tremendous job wherever they put him. And here's the scene as Mookie Wilson came in after the inning in which he lost that ball in the outfield.
And a fly ball by Santana for the 2nd out. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, it was just a very nice gesture on the part of Terry Leach. As we look at it again, as Mookie obviously upset with himself for dropping that ball that should have been caught, and Terry Leach comes over to give him a pat on the back, and it was Leach, of course, who was responsible for that runner.
Heading for the pitcher, Jesse Orozco.
So Terry Leach leaves the game, or had left the game, with a no decision. Orozco has a no decision. A good job by Jesse, and Lynn Dykstra to pinch hit.
Lenny hitting .286, 8 homers and 26 RBIs. He is 4 for 13 as a pinch hitter. And you see Bobby Ojeda in the dugout sitting there next to Jesse Orozco, and Bobby's rehabilitation progressing very nicely.
There are a lot of situations when pinch hitters get up there and walk, and certainly it's just as good as a hit. Last night, an example. The Mets trailing by a run in the 8th. Dykstra walked. Mazzilli on a 2-base error that really should have been a double. Coleman misplayed it, but it should have been a double.
And tonight the ball to Mookie Wilson should have been scored an error, and Herr was given a double.
Yep.
Or Pendleton, I should say.
Greg Matthews charting the game for tomorrow. He is the gentleman with the black shirt on there. Sitting directly behind home plate. You see the radar gun there. This one drilled the left center. Coleman over a couple of steps. 3 fly balls. Hit rather well by the Mets. If they go in order, it's still 4-3 after 7.5, and we'll be back after this word from the good old guys. You need the words to this. Roger McDowell is the 4th Mets pitcher, and for Roger, he's 4-3. He has 14 saves to tie him with Orozco for the team lead. His 32nd appearance, and as all the Mets fans know, his first appearance May 17th this year. Let's double check that. Nope, it was May 14th. But a guy who's with you every day, all year, Steve Zabriskie in. Steve-O.
Thanks, Timmy. Jim Lindemann to be followed by Tony Phenia and Jose Oquendo against McDowell here in the 8th inning for St. Louis. Mets leading 4-3 as Roger McDowell becomes the 4th pitcher of the evening for the Mets. Lindemann so far 0 for 3, has popped out and grounded out twice. And he drives one into the right center field gap. Strawberry cuts it off and will hold Lindemann to a single. So as has happened quite often to Roger McDowell, early in his relief stint, his sinker didn't sink.
Catcher Tony Phenia.
Pendleton, or I should say Lindemann, awfully strong as he inside outs this ball, a little dunker into right center field, and Phenia up there, and Phenia may be bunting. Hernandez looking in to ask Davy Johnson where he wants him to play, and he's going to hold Lindemann on. Tony may be bunting. We'll see.
Johnson coming up the line a ways at third. And the middle infielders looking for the double play if possible. But if they do bunt, Tuffle's going to have to break for second. And Phenia squared but took it for strike 1.
Johnson on the line at third base. You know, naturally he's going to be shallow for the bunt, but he's playing on the line. And Phenia, if Phenia pulls a Roger McDowell fastball, you got to give it to him. He's more inclined to hit that ball straight away. I mean, here's a right field hitter hitting. No pull hitter.
Banded foul as he tried to push it past Hernandez and between Hernandez and Roger McDowell. So it's 0-2 to Phenia.
And the Mets hoping Tony doesn't turn that into a base hit. That often happens. You fail 2 times, and look at Hernandez still looking at Davy Johnson, asking where he wants him to play.
I think Keith wants to play off the bag. He's tried to talk him into it a couple of times, and he probably does because of Pena's propensity to hit the ball the other way. He swings and taps one foul the other way, a breaking ball out of the strike zone. So it's still 0-2. Another problem that you have with Johnson hugging the line at third is that Santana is cheating up toward the middle for the double play.
Correct.
So there's a huge hole on the left side of the infield that you can see right there.
And you know, you're trying to win the game. You're not trying to prevent them from tying it. And that's a key point. Double play, bang, 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 that gets you out of it. And they're not in double play position because, as you pointed out, you could drive a truck through that hole on the left side. Howard's still shallow also. He's not bunting now, so why are you shallow?
Phenia, although he runs well, does not run that well and runs from the right side. So a ball hit down to Johnson. Now he's backing up. He would have time to make the throw, but he's still too close to the line. Grounded right to Santana, and this could be tailor-made, and is. Nicely turned double play as Phenia hits it right to Rafael Santana, and there are 2 away.
And it kind of reinforces the point that Phenia is a middle-of-the-field hitter and right field hitter. This is about his pull shot off a guy like McDowell into the shortstop position.
Especially with 2 strikes.
Yes, sir.
So Whitey looking to scratch out a run.
Yeah, now it worked out fine that time, but you got to always remember what the theory is.
Oquendo hits it the other way, and McReynolds has him played perfectly, and the inning is over. A hit, a double play, and nobody left here in the 8th for St. Louis. Still a 1-run ball game as New York leads it 4-3, and we're back for the 9th inning after this for New Jersey Bell. Bill Dolly still in there, working the 9th as he entered the game back in the 6th inning for starter Rick Horton. It'll be the top of the order for the Mets in the top of the 9th inning. Mookie Wilson, Tim Teufel, and Keith Hernandez. Mookie 0 for 4, reached on an error in the 4th. And he misses a fastball for strike 1. The Mets lead it 4-3 as they try to take 2 in a row from the Cardinals and extend St. Louis's losing streak to 6 games in a row. Grounded into the hole, and Herr can't get it. Base hit for Mookie Wilson as he opens the 9th inning.
Second baseman, Tim Teufel.
Lee Tunnel and Pat Perry now warming for the Cardinals, and it'll be interesting to see if Teufel bunts. I wouldn't bunt Teufel right here because you're going to see Pat Perry pitching to Hernandez and Strawberry, and Teufel's been swinging the hot bat. Last night he drove in the game-winning run with the 2 RBI single in the 8th inning off Todd Worrell. Good time to hit and run, really.
Teufel is 1 for 3. He doubled and scored, and they're bunting, and it's fouled off.
You know, it's not really saying that you shouldn't bunt because there are a lot of different ways to play it. That's why the game is great. Davey Johnson electing to bunt here.
Davey, in certain circumstances, will give the hitter an opportunity to bunt and then forget about it.
If the first pitch is a ball, if the first pitch is a strike, he's usually going to keep it in because now Teufel's in the hole 0-1. A lot of
back at plenty of time.
Excuse me, Steve. A lot of times you use that play to show that you're bunting the first time, and then you get the infield spinning around. Second baseman to first, shortstop to second, third baseman pulled in.
Teufel out to bunt again, and it's a good one to Pendleton at third. His only play is at first, and a good play by Tom Herr to corral the throw and keep a foot on the bag in order to get the out on the sacrifice by Teufel as Wilson moves down to second.
I'll tell you, these Cardinal infielders are really remarkable athletes. Watch Pendleton catch it, throw in the same motion. Now watch Herr. Little Baryshnikov move, who is showing up here at St. Louis at Kiel Auditorium August 20th.
Well, we'll come back for that.
That's correct. But before he gets here, Herr just a little few dance steps showing you how the locals are inspired.
Well, Whitey Herzog out now, and it's Pat Perry's time as Hernandez and Strawberry are the next 2 hitters for the Mets. And with 1 out, Mookie Wilson will be in scoring position at second base. The Mets lead at 4-3. Bill Dolly works 3 1/3. And while the pitching change is made, we'll take a timeout for this word from the Daily News.
Nobody tells us like the Daily News.
Find out what's going on here. You don't have to look far.
Nobody knows us like the Daily News.
If I played for the Mets instead of writing for the Daily News, it'd be a sad day for the news.
A Saturday for the Mets.
Nobody shows it like the Daily. Nobody shows it. Nobody tells it like the Daily News.
Perry in the ball game. A double switch by Whitey Herzog. Perry 3-1, his 36th appearance of the year, his only save of his career against the New York Mets earlier in the year.
And Curt Ford will bat in the 9th spot in the batting order and lead off the bottom of the 9th for St. Louis. Pat Perry goes into Jose Oquendo's spot, which is the 8 hole in the batting order. And something retrieved by one of the security guard usher types here. So we're ready to go back to play. 1 out. Mookie Wilson at second here in the top of the 9th inning, and Keith Hernandez, who is 2 for 4 with an RBI. Fastball right in there, strike 1. Keith doubled in a run in the 3rd and singled to right center, leading off the 7th. And he has a 7-game hitting streak over which he's hitting about .450. Driven down the left field line and foul.
That's where the left-hander tries to pitch Hernandez inside, as Perry, I guess you could say Perry Commodores a fastball, slider, and a screwball for right-handers.
And if you all out there got that, more power
come
to
on,
you.
quit.
I like it. You're very cerebral tonight. Nice subtleties. 2 strikes the count to Keith. Again fouled off down the left side.
I think Willie McGee in center field ought to be over toward left center, because the way Perry is pitching Hernandez, clearly he's going to hit the ball the other way. Hernandez more inclined to hit it the other way with 2 strikes. Look at Coleman. Little speck in left field is Vince Coleman. And McGee still playing Hernandez straight away when Keith really is inclined to hit it to left.
Driven to short. Ozzie Smith up with it, and Mookie Wilson crossing over to third as Hernandez is thrown out for the 2nd out of the inning. Only Mookie's fine speed enabling him really to make that play.
That's right. Ozzie,
can be questionable.
Ozzie in a similar situation last night with Santana running through to third, but no way is he going to take a chance with Wilson running. Now, Mookie with that great speed can get away with more than Santana, obviously, or a lot of guys.
Well, here's Darryl Strawberry with 2 out, and Wilson now at third. Darryl has homered in 3 official at-bats. He's also walked.
He's going to pitch him tight, too. That fastball on inside part.
That one right over the plate, strike 1. Darryl hit his 23rd home run of the year, leading off the 2nd inning. He has 57 RBIs now. And that put the Mets in front 1-0.
See, Horton with the breaking ball could throw him breaking balls, but I think Perry will stay inside on him.
Over the inside corner with another fastball, and it's 0-2.
The type of breaking ball that Perry has, he's got a flat breaking ball. Horton had even though he's a left-hander, has a sweeping breaking ball. I think he'll stay inside. We'll see.
Phenia going inside again, and Darryl fouling it off as it was out over the plate. Still 0-2. Two out in the top of the 9th inning. Mets leading 4-3.
Watch out, Phenia, even though when he goes inside, kind of shifts from his left foot out back inside. He's going to come inside again. See how that shift is?
Grounded foul. He's hoping that the hitter will get a glimpse of him
right
when he does move a little to his left before he comes back inside.
That's exactly right.
You catchers are pretty sneaky, Tom.
I've been told that since I retired, not while I was playing.
Still 0-2 to Strawberry. And he pops it up again. The inside fastball Lindemann in foul territory, now makes the catch in fair territory, and the inning is over. A hit and a runner left at third for the Mets here in the ninth inning. We go to the bottom of the ninth with New York leading by 1, 4-3 after this for American Express. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Mets and WWOR-TV. It's been intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WWOR-TV is prohibited. Curt Ford leading it off for St. Louis, hitting .309, batting for the first time after the double switch employed by Whitey Herzog. He will face Roger McDowell here in the ninth inning with Vince Coleman and Tom Herr to follow as the Mets lead it 4-3. Ball one. Roger McDowell last lost a ball game in relief on June 28th, so it's been a month for Roger. Since then, he's had 5 saves in 8 appearances. Grounded down the first baseline, foul. Strike one. The count 1-1.
That's why the Cardinals are such a pesky club. When you make your quality pitch to most of the Cardinal hitters, they have a strange ability of fouling the ball off and not putting the ball in play. You often find that particular type of ability with guys who put the ball in play a lot and spray hitters like most of the Cardinal hitters are. They're a very, very difficult team to hold down. They're averaging 5.5 runs this year, only 3.5 last year.
On the inside corner, Ford disagrees, but the count 1-2. And of course, Fred Bird with a frenzied rally to whip this crowd up here in the bottom of the ninth inning, really going after it, animated as always. What a mascot. 2-2 to Ford. Well, the Cardinals lead the league in hitting. Oh, that funster. What a kidder old Fred Bird is. Cardinals hitting .277 to lead the National League. And a lot of times when guys like Ford and Coleman don't make good contact and do put the ball in play, they wind out beating it out anyway. Those tappers in the infield, instead of being thrown out, go as infield base hits with their
speed. You don't see a lot of pop-ups playable on this ball club.
There's one hit to center field and deep. Mookie Wilson over with room. One away. That's Death Valley in the National League. 414 to straightaway center.
I tell you what, Curt Ford, all he needs is a little more playing time. That guy's about as strong pound for pound. He can hit a ball a long way, and he only weighs 152 pounds. It's amazing.
He's a little bit like Eric the Red in Cincinnati.
Yes,
and
sir.
Eric Davis is not large and has that lithe strength. Here's Vince Coleman, who has been on base twice but is 0 for 3. He was hit by a pitch and reached on an error. He scored a run in the 5th inning.
And you don't try to keep this guy from getting a double. Hernandez and Johnson on the lines. You try to keep him off of first. The outfield entirely too deep against Coleman. You got to bunch him and pinch him.
And he takes a strike.
The Mets have never thrown him out, so why guard the line against him to try to protect against the double? Johnson on the line, Keith on the line, and everybody. Now Mookie comes in, and now Strawberry comes in, and Kevin McReynolds still too deep and left. You got to make this guy hit the ball over your head if you're an outfielder. No home runs this year.
Hernandez now off the line, and he was motioning frantically to Strawberry to come in. 1 ball, 1 strike to Coleman. Coleman got on base in the first inning when he was hit by a pitch and promptly stole second and third to give him 63 on the year. There's Keith signaling to the outfield and talking to Tim Tuffle, the second baseman.
Now Keith off the line.
Way outside, 2-1.
Some guys, you dare it to hit them over your head. Guys like Lindemann and Clark. Guy like Coleman, you dare it you dare him to hit the ball in front of you if you're an outfielder. Make him hit it over your head.
Pounded off the plate. Hernandez with a high chopper to McDowell in time. No, he's called safe. I think Joe West says that Roger McDowell missed the bag.
Because he beat Coleman, and he might be the only guy in the league who could beat Coleman on a play like this. McDowell, an absolutely superb fielder. Let's see if he touched the base or not.
Tom Herr.
He did not touch the eye. He might have gotten a corner, but at a corner at best. Hernandez falls down making the play, and Roger had him beaten. I don't know. Maybe the side of his foot, maybe the heel. The heel's up right there. But Roger, again, the speed of Coleman, he's trying to rush it. It was a tough play to call.
Well, and to Joe West's credit, he was in a perfect position to make the call, and he made it. So Coleman on at first, as they have given a base hit to him. Another infield base hit. So Coleman at first base with one out for Tom Herr, who is 3 for 3 plus a walk. Coleman running a huge jump, and he's in there.
Well, Vince not wasting any time this time. And the throw by Carter, a good throw, but he had no chance.
Stolen base number 64 for Coleman, his third of the game, and the fifth of the game for the Cardinals without being thrown out. Coleman is now 26 for 26 against the New York Mets in his career. The pitch to Herr was a ball, so it's 1 ball, no strikes. Strike one, 1-1. The Cardinals with the tying run in scoring position with 1 out here in the bottom of the 9th. Tom, who has been mired in a horrible slump, has broken out of it for the night at least with his 3 hits tonight. He has scored 2 runs, driven in a run, and doubled twice. Driven a base hit the other way to left field. Here comes McReynolds. He drops the ball. Coleman will score, and the game is tied.
This ball by Johnson, and I doubt that McReynolds would have thrown out Coleman, but because he hurried, again, the speed of Vince Coleman and the hitting of Tommy Herr, 4 for 4 on the evening, and another run for the Cardinals.
And the batter, Terry Pendleton, who takes ball 1. Pendleton now with Herr at first, 2 for 4 with an RBI single in the 5th, and he doubled in the 7th.
Well, you got to watch the hit and run right now. Pendleton handles the bat well. No chance of the pitch out right here, and Herr can run.
And Herr bluffs going. Pendleton hits it deep to center field. Wilson going back, makes the catch against the wall, and Tom Herr, who was round second, has to re-tag second and go all the way back to first.
Pendleton hit it about as far as he can hit it to center field. You really got to be a moose to hit it out here. Nice play by Mookie. Herr, who had rounded second, heads back to first. McDowell up in the strike zone now.
Ozzie Smith the batter, and Ozzie takes strike one. Ozzie 0 for 1 did drive in a run with a ground out in the 7th inning to give him 55 RBIs on the year. Then he asked for time from Paul Runge. So no decision for Sid Fernandez, who was going after his 11th victory of the year and left after 5. Good pitch from McDowell, and it's 0-2.
Well, and this game would be over had Roger McDowell stepped on first base.
A tapper off the plate over McDowell. Santana in a hurry, in time at first. The inning is over, but the Cardinals tie it with a run on 2 hits and a stolen base by Vincent Van Gogh here in the 9th inning. So we go to the 10th, tied 4-4 after this for Busch Beer.
Kevin McReynolds leads it off here in the top of the 10th inning against Pat Perry. Perry, the 5th Cardinal pitcher, and McReynolds takes a strike. The Mets have used 4. Kevin on the evening looking for his first hit. Not gotten one out of the infield until now. Oh, boy. Tommy Herr gets him safe at first.
Now Tom Herr's upset with Joe West.
Talk about changing your mind. How many times did I change my mind on that call?
Well, about as many times as you got the fake from Joe West, because he was going to punch him out. And Bill Robinson giving the safe sign right there.
Oh, man, what a ball game.
Joe West has been in the middle of it this whole series so far. He ran Whitey Herzog on a play at second last night. He's been involved now in 3, maybe even 4 big plays at first base tonight.
Wow. Here's Gary Carter, who's 2 for 4. Pendleton looking bunt. Carter swinging, and he takes. Or was going to swing, but he took. You know what I mean?
That's a neat trick if you can do it.
Yeah.
Swing and take at the same time. I like it.
The Cardinals 11-4 in extra inning games. The Mets 2-6. So a decided advantage for the Redbirds. Well hit, left field. Coleman is back. And he makes the play, a foot from the warning track. Welcome to Busch Stadium. 1 out.
Just about any other park in the National League, Carter has a 2-run home run. But here, not only is it 414 to center field, the power alleys, if you can call them that in this park, are 383. And Coleman would have run out of room anywhere else in the National League.
Carter didn't hit it on the sweet spot. Kind of got it down just a little on the end, and that's from that tailing little screwball. That's why pitchers throw that. The later the tail, the better the pitch. Johnson 3 for 4. He has had 2 infield hits and a single up the middle. McReynolds with 5 stolen bases in 6 tries. Screwball is low.
You saw Phenia giving the little flapping signal with his 4 fingers for that screwball.
Lee Tunnel now warming. On deck batter is Bill Almond. Swing and a miss at the screwball again. With Bill Almond out there, you got to think something's wrong with Santana, don't you? Doug Sisk warming. Santana, I believe, on the top step with his head in his hand. Another screwball for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Johnson. There's Almond. And he's about 12 feet from Rafael Santana on the top of the dugout step. There's Rafi. Well hit left center. This might make the seats. Home run Johnson. 6-4 New York. Oh, baby. Hernandez said, I told you, Davey. Home run number 24 on the year, and the Mets lead it 6-4. Man.
Howard Johnson has had so many big hits in this ballpark in the brief time he's been with the New York Mets. And he saw one too many screwballs from Pat Perry. He had a home run cut at the first one and missed it. He took the second one for strike 2. The third one Perry threw him. He deposited well over that 383 sign in the first or second row of the left center field bleachers, and the Mets lead it 6-4.
Doug Sisk has set down an almond pinch hitting for Rafael Santana, and here it is.
Hojo right on it. I mean, he saw third time's the charm that time. He looked bad on the one he missed earlier, but he was looking for it, and he hammered it.
Fly ball, right field. Kurt Ford in, now back, and he makes the play. 2 away, but now McDowell's going to be able to hit for himself.
Well, not only was that Howard Johnson's 24th homer of the year.
Pitcher Roger McDowell.
Let's go back and look at the play on Vince Coleman. Roger McDowell, as you said properly, Timmy, probably one of the few pitchers in the National League that could beat Coleman to first. Beats him, but missed the bag, apparently, as Joe West made the call. Now McReynolds driving the ball. Tommy Herr with a great stop. Gets up, fires, and McReynolds appears to beat him at first base.
So 2 good calls in a row by Joe West. This one lifted to right. It's forward again. But the Mets will Cadillac into the bottom of the 10th. They lead it 6-4, and appropriately, here's a word from Ford. Pat Perry with his head down, primarily because of the home run by Howard Johnson, his 24th of the year. And Steve, I thought you explained it very well. He went to the well, the screwball well, once too often.
Hojo depositing it well over the fence. And this is not only his 24th home run of the year and another big hit, but for Howard Johnson, it also represents his first 4-hit game in the big leagues. Hojo had been 3 for 4, and he lined out hard his other time up. So his first 4-hit game.
And Willie McGee, for the first time tonight, is batting with no one on base. He has stranded 8 base runners, 3 in the first, actually hit into a double play. He stranded 2 in the third. He stranded 2 more in the 5th inning and 1 in the 7th. Boy, the emotions have flip-flopped the last 2 nights between these 2 clubs. 1-1 to McGee. The Mets up by 2, bottom of the 10th. Grounded sharply. Tuffle bobbles it. Safe at first. And the emotional roller coaster continues.
Well, any time that the play is not made smoothly, the chances are if it's close, it's not going to go to the defense. Off the heel of the glove. Now Tuffle stays with it and makes a pretty good throw here. And it appears as if he is safe, as
Yes,
McGee, even with the knee problems he's had, still runs very well.
Okay, now the batter is Jim Lindemann, who is 1 for 4. What a ball game. A great game last night, even though it wasn't a well-played game, very exciting. Tonight, the same thing. Fastball for a strike.
Quite often when emotions are running high, games are not played all that well.
Point well taken, sire. You're watching Mets Baseball 87. Are you ever? On WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Fastball high, 1-1. The last 2 nights now, keep in mind, there have been 8 errors made. 6 have led to runs, and we'll see if Teffel's error here will lead to a run with McGee on first. Tapped foul. Lindemann with tremendous power. He had 20 home runs last year. Only 3 this year with the nagging leg injuries. Been on the disabled list twice with back spasms. As another look at Pat Perry.
Jay Horwitz just informs us that the reason Rafael Santana was lifted from the game was that he suffered a bruised right index finger. Possibly it was hit by the ball on that play he made between second and first that ended the inning.
Fastball high, 2-2 to Lindemann. Nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 10th inning. The Mets trying to win their 3rd extra inning game in 9 ball games. It's 2-2 to Jim Lindemann. He represents the tying run. McGee probably won't be going anywhere. Now with the Cardinals trailing by 2. Swing and grounded foul. Now obviously it's a good play for Johnson to be on the line because Lindemann, a strong hitter. A completely different situation than when Coleman was up last inning.
Pat Perry still can't watch.
Tell you, you do take this game hard. If you win, you have 2 hours to celebrate. If you lose, 2 hours to be miserable. And this one hits Carter again. Boy, this 2-game series so far has taken its toll on both the Mets and the Cardinals.
That one came up and hit Gary right underneath the thigh. Oh. If there is a spot unprotected on Gary Carter, it seems like a foul ball will find it.
Still 2-2 to Lindemann. Grounded toward third. Johnson. Teffel. Safe at first. So the lead runner by Johnson, who was playing Lindemann to pull. 1 out.
And Lindemann pulled the ball right at him.
Catcher Tony Phenia.
And that's what the Mets wanted right there. They could not get the double play, and because the ball's pulled right down the line, Hojo right there, but a long way to go to get the double play. And a good job by Willie McGee to push Tuffle back off the bag and prevent the double play from being completed. Mets would start calling Country Joe West Smiling Joe West.
Well, I'll tell you, he has really weathered the storm this evening and last night. He has had some tough plays. And remember, Joe West will be behind the plate tomorrow night as Dwight Gooden goes against Greg Matthews. So the heat will remain not only here in St. Louis, but on Joe West as well. Here's Tony Phenia. He had a high pitch and he fouls it back. Randy Myers now, interestingly, is up in the Met bullpen. How many times have you seen this in Roger McDowell's career? I can't remember a time.
Nor can I. Pat Perry still feeling the emotions of the moment. And Greg Booker is out on deck as a pinch hitter with Perry scheduled up next.
He is the only remaining Cardinal left to pinch hit. Low, 1-1. Bob Forsch, of course, a starting pitcher and hitting over 400 this year, available for pinch hitting duties. The Probably not until Booker has been spent, but you never know if Myers comes in. Fly ball to center field and playable. And Wilson makes the play. So the batter will indeed be Greg Booker.
Batting for the pitcher, Pat Perry.
Rod Booker, I beg your pardon.
My fault. I got you on that one. Booker hitting.
I went for the head fake.
Booker hitting 364 overall, 300 as a pinch hitter. He is 3 for 10 with 3 pinch hit RBIs. He has not hit a home run this season.
And certainly the prototypical Cardinal player. He can run, he can field. All of them are about the same size, with the exception of Jack Clark, who stands tall in the land of Lilliput. A tapper toward first, and this might do it. McDowell makes sure he steps on first, and the Mets win it 6-4. Roger McDowell gets the win, an emotionally draining ball game. And if this were a postseason game, Steve, they'd be talking about it for a long time.
Well, this whole series has had the feeling and the atmosphere of postseason play, and the games have turned out to be just like that. 52,000 last night, over 48,000 here tonight, and Pat Perry with a 2-run home run allowed to Howard Johnson in the 10th inning after the Cardinals had tied it in the 9th, winds up losing the ball game, and the Mets pick up yet another game, as do the Montreal Expos in second place as the National League Eastern Division tightens up.
So the accordion is playing. Montreal 5 back, the Mets 6.5 back, and tomorrow night's going to be interesting. It's going to be Dwight Gooden against Greg Matthews, and Steve and I will be back for the wrap-up. Kiner's Corner, a special edition, don't forget tonight. We'll be back after this word from...
Steve Zabriskie and Tim McCarver back with you here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where the Mets win another big one, 6-4 on Howard Johnson's 2-run home run in the 10th inning that broke a 4-4 tie after the Cardinals had tied it. And Timmy, you talked about it being an emotional roller coaster right from the start, and certainly if these two games are any indication of what's left to go on between these two teams the rest of the season, it's far from over.
Well, there are not a lot of home runs hit, only 2 home runs hit in tonight's ball game. None hit last night by either ball club. Both home runs coming in this series by the Mets. Darryl Strawberry's 23rd tonight, and Howard Johnson with the clincher. A remarkable ball game. And it's funny how Ralph Kiner, in my conversation, remember earlier in the ball game about speed versus power. Power won it for the Mets, but speed tied it for the Cardinals.
Well, each team using, as Darrell Royal once said in football, dancing with what brung them. And then the Mets, of course, have hit almost twice as many home runs as the Cardinals have this year. But tomorrow night certainly is going to be even probably more emotion-packed because Dwight Gooden has been moved up a day. The Mets have swept 2. The Cardinals have lost 6 in a row, and they have to be looking over their shoulder now.
And I guess one of the keys and one of the features tomorrow night has to be home plate umpire Joe West. After what he's been through, he ran Whitey Herzog last night. He had a lot of close plays at second base. A ton. I've never seen as many close plays as he had at first base tonight. And tomorrow night with Gooden and Matthews pitching, he's going to be behind the plate.
And there probably are going to be close to 50,000 folks here again tomorrow night, and that certainly is a big factor in Busch Stadium.
And it's also a lot tougher to win on the road, especially when the crowd is as vociferous. The sign and the banner last night, and the emotions are running very, very high here in St. Louis.
Well, the Mets are playing better on the road. They're now a game over 500 on the road, something they have to do if they're going to catch the Cardinals, and they pick up another game tonight. So here are the final totals in the second of this big 3-game series. For the Mets, 6 runs on 12 hits, 2 errors. The Cardinals with 4 runs on 11 hits and 1 error. The winning pitcher in the ball game, in relief, Roger McDowell, is now 5-3 on the year, and the losing pitcher, Pat Perry, falls to 3-2. And we'll be back at you with the final one of this series tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Time. Timmy?
I'm emotionally drained, but I'll try to get through this. New York Mets baseball has been brought to you by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan, who invites you to test drive a hot new Nissan car or truck and see why Nissan makes you feel like driving. By Express Mail, next day service from the post office. By the American Express card. Don't leave home without it. By your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Ford dealers. And by AT&T, the right choice. Guests this evening will receive a Master Mechanic 7¼ inch circular saw, belt sander, variable speed reversing drill, and a jigsaw, exclusively from True Value hardware stores. And an Emerson 19-inch diagonal color television with auto color control system. Fans, be with us again tomorrow when the Mets take on the St. Louis Cardinals at 8:30 New York time, and it should be a dandy. It'll be Gooden against Matthews, right here on WWOR-TV. Now, stay tuned for Ralph Kiner and Kiner's Corner, a special edition this evening, and we're going to see how Howard Johnson did it. Howard, Ralph's guest this evening on the special edition of Kiner's Corner. The executive producer of Mets Baseball 87 is Rick Miner, produced and directed by Bill Webb. The announcers on the preceding telecast were approved and contracted for by Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, LP. Mets Baseball is a production of Channel 9 Sports. A happy good evening, everybody.
Well, the Mets won it by a score of 6-4, the identical score of yesterday. They have won the first 2 games of this very important 3-game series. Our guest on the show, Howard Johnson. And Howard had 14 3-hit games in his major league career. Never had a 4-hit game. Here tonight, he had a 4-hit ball game, and the one time they got him out, he was 4 for 5. He hit a shot to right field that was caught. And Howard, a great ball game, and right here, the big one, the 2-run home run.
Yeah, it was a 2-2 pitch, I believe in it, and he just tried to get a fastball out a little bit farther than he wanted to, and it got down the middle of the plate, and I hit it good.
So the Mets win it on the home run by Howard Johnson. Howard, your 24th home run. You're having a tremendous year, batting right-handed, something you've never done well before.
Well, I worked a lot in the wintertime, to get prepared for this season, because I knew I was going to play every day, and it's just I've done more than I thought I would do. I'll be honest with you. I'm just glad it's going so well.
24 home runs, 20 stolen bases. You have become the third Met to do that, Tommy Agee and Darryl Strawberry, and one of 4 in the major leagues to have a 20-20 year going right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, those were the numbers that I wanted to accomplish by the end of the season, and I had no idea that I would do it, with 60-something games left. So I've kind of realigned my goals now, and I think I got a realistic shot at 30-30, which to me would be, at one point in the season, it seemed like there's no chance, but now I got a good shot, so that would be something.
This has been just a tremendous year for you, and of course you're getting a chance to play both right and left-handed as a batter and playing every day, and you had always predicted that if you had a chance to play every day, you would turn in some